And now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the show. Once again, thank you for coming to our theater tonight. Have an enjoyable evening.
Three cinephiles have come together to bring you strong opinions, controversial statements, epic battles, and plenty of fun. Introducing our host, the man who watches 52 movies a week, drinks 52 beers a movie, loves women but hates the woman. From the foreign land of Canada, our host, Mood 616. He is widely known as the man who talks too much. His worst enemies are Postmaster P and Pee Wee Herman. He said Hellraiser was overrated and Leprechaun Origins wouldn't suck. He's the full-blooded half-Mexican, JP. Finally, we have the man who doesn't talk enough. He is best friends with Sean S. Cunningham. His favorite horror movie is Gummo. He is your favorite Jew and mine, Jeremy. Together they are known for extending a helping hand to vampircons everywhere. They are the 22 shots of moods and horror.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 125 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, the crazy Canadian who feels like he drank 52 beers last night, also known as Moods. And sitting on my left, we have the man widely known as the Mexican from Pittsburgh, and who has no idea who John Lithgow is, and he's feeling the ill effects of that lashing the Penguins received from my Leafs last night. Double Crosby, Shot J, also known as JP.
Not Crosby.
And sitting on my right, we have the Happy Death Day Killer himself, aka the Boston Brando, D-Nice, D-Boogie, D-Borgie 86, D-Bouger, D-Trick Malone, Punchbag D, the Boston Cream Pie Donut, a.k.a. 10 out of 10 Derek. What's going on, guys?
Damn, I didn't realize how many nicknames you had, Derek.
I didn't know either. Mood just comes up with them all the time.
I think I was just adding in nicknames there. The Boston Cream Pie Donut. Those are so fucking good, though, man.
Just making up shit.
I totally was. Punchbug D, D-Trick Malone. I make myself laugh. What's going on, guys? Yeah, episode 125. Is that some kind of milestone episode? I don't know. It just sounds like a nice round, awesome figure. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
I didn't really think of it that way, but I guess you're kind of right. Like 125, 150, 175, 200, stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to believe we're already 25 episodes removed from episode 100. We say it all the time, but man, it's crazy. And I actually was going to do the math and find out what our most productive year in terms of episodes has been. Mm-hmm. But it feels like this one, but I'm not sure, 100% sure that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no idea. I actually have no idea. It just seems like because we're on this like huge streak right now of continuous shows, so I mean that probably has a little bit to do with it, but I mean I think we still have put out, I want to say like over 30 episodes this year.
No.
No?
Because it would be 98 to now, I believe.
Well, it's pretty close. It's still pretty close. I mean, even if we come up short just to under 30, I mean that's still more than one every bi-weekly, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's not bad considering we missed like 4 months.
Yeah,
of no shows. So
insane.
Yeah, man, that is crazy. Derek, back on the show.
Jeremy, back off the show.
Yes,
it is official. Jeremy is no longer a co-host on the show anymore. Derek is back in full effect.
At least for this week.
It's for this week.
Yeah, I got my own show to run, guys. This is like my second home, though. Anytime you guys need me, I'm always there.
So after the disastrous first launch of the Cinema Attack, I guess you guys are back, right?
Yeah, we're back. We're actually recording after the show's over, so that's awesome.
How'd you convince those guys to record after us? Let's hope for an under 5 hour one tonight.
Oh yeah, it's actually very smooth with Matt and W. It's nothing like too crazy with them, and it's actually really we click really well together with those guys. It was actually when Brandon and Charlene left and stuff. It was actually Brandon's idea to get Matt and W involved with Cinema Attack, and it works well. It's working well so far, and we're having fun. You know, taking as long as, like I said in the first review show we did, as long as we get past 4 episodes, we're golden. You know.
Yeah, I was actually unable to listen to you guys yet. I'm super behind on podcasts. I've actually been binge listening to The Movie Crypt just because it was a podcast I used to listen to all the time, but then kind of stopped listening to podcasts altogether. And then just recently was like, I need to catch up on all these shows, so I'll just do it one at a time. And since Movie Crypt was what I was furthest behind on, I was a full year behind on their episodes, and they post weekly. So only like 6 months back now.
Did you listen to the Movie Crypt where they were talking about that guy from the 22 Shots who was like illegally pirating movies and stuff?
No, I haven't got to that episode yet. I'm sure it's coming up though. Yeah, but
I'm behind on some podcasts too myself, so I understand that completely.
Yeah, I think you guys should get Andy on your show.
Yeah, we actually been talking. As things go well with scheduling, Andy might be making an appearance here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you guys got coming up next?
Well, we're re-recording our Satanic Cult show because of the aspect of Dubby's still learning how to do certain things with the recording, and that shit the bed, but it's all good in the hood. Everyone makes mistakes in their first times podcasting.
Guys got to have that dual recording.
Yeah, I highly recommend 2 people record because I think we lost 2 episodes from recording.
Malfunctions.
I can't remember what the. Yeah, I can't remember what the second one was. I know the first one was the My Bloody Valentine show we did originally.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the second one was. But I know there was another one that didn't work. It was shortly after I bought this new recorder, courtesy of Alex Edwards, telling me about it. But yeah. two recordings is the way to go. Nothing worse than losing a full episode.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, like we said, like. We're going to keep going, and we're going to re-record. And then the week after that, because we're actually doing a show next week, too, we're actually recording the entire Die Hard franchise, which is exciting.
That's pretty cool. How many are those of those? 5?
5, yes.
Yeah.
I've yet to see the 5th one, man. Was it any good? Because I heard it was
I actually haven't seen it yet either, so that's going to be interesting.
I only like 1 and 3.
Yeah, it's pretty... Well, it's been a while since I've seen the first 3. I saw 4 in theaters. Remember, like in the unrated version, a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it was PG-13. It happens, but we'll see what happens when I revisit them.
The first Die Hard is like my favorite action movie. Like if we're discounting war films, then it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
Yeah,
such an awesome flick, man.
Then we're actually doing a year-end show also, which is exciting, which leads me into trying to get Andy on the show, too, with that.
Yeah, I suggested that you guys definitely get him on there, because he was on our show last year, and he got to dump his list, and I feel bad for people who don't get to utilize their list if they actually make one.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. You guys are kind of in the same boat, right? Started recording late in the year, and then one of your first episodes is like a year-end show. It's kind of how we started out.
Yeah, I believe our 4th or 5th episode was a top 10 of 2013.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, which speaking of, I guess now would be the time to kind of announce this. So every year we take submissions for top 10 lists of 2017. It'll be this year, and you guys send them in, and then I tally them up and kind of create a master list out of it. So this year I'm making it a little easier on myself. If you have a top 10 list, please send it to 22shotsofmoodsandhorror@gmail.com. I want to keep them all in one place because I'm a little bit more busy now than I ever have been, and just taking on all the extra projects that I always do. I think that I need to have them all in one place this year. It was a little madness last year with the amount of submissions, from like email to PMs to different. I think that's kind of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I actually remember because I actually helped you with that aspect of that too.
Yeah. So please just
you should actually make Jeremy do that.
I know, right? He'd fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, it's probably a given.
But yeah, so please send us in your top 10 lists starting now, and we will accept them until the, let's see, the calendar. We'll accept them until Friday the 5th of January.
Nice.
So you have till Friday the 5th to get your top 10 in. Just email it to us, and yeah. So please do that.
I'm really curious to hear some people's top 10 lists this year, because this has been an odd year
for you.
I mean, it's just everybody I talk to has like different favorites, and everything is just so up in the air, in my opinion. I mean, from films like It Comes at Night, you know, I mean, I imagine that's probably going to be somewhere on your list, and where it's not making many other lists, you know, kind of thing, right? There's so many films like that I found this year that are on one side of the spectrum, read to the next. Pretty interesting.
So, speaking of my list, I'm kind of in a weird situation right now. Like, what I want to do, like, there's films on there that are, I rated a certain way, but now, like, thinking about it, I have other films that I rated a little lower, but I'm like, I think those movies are better. So I'm kind of toying with the idea of, like, manipulating my scores from what I originally gave them. The appropriate and ideal way to do it would be to do rewatches, so that you can clearly get a good understanding of where you would rate the film, which I'm going to try to do. So there's like about 4 or 5 films that I feel I might have rated too high, and about 4 or 5 films that I feel like I've rated a little too low. So I don't know if I'll be able to rewatch all of them, but I definitely might manipulate some points there. It's mainly towards the bottom of the list, mainly, not exclusively, but mainly towards the 8, 9, 10 spot. And then I have like films in the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 spot that I feel like might deserve to be on my list more than the other films. So I'm kind of stressing about my list a little bit this year. This year has been the most competitive for me. My top 10 mathematically is the greatest top 10 I've ever done. So that's pretty crazy considering a lot of people are a little lower on this year. I think overall, if I would take all of my like, let's say the top 50 films I watched this year and the top 50 of last year, mathematically last year would have more points, so would 2015. But towards the top end of my list this year, I think that is stronger than the previous years. So like the actual 10 or 15 films, I think is the strongest year that I've been a part of doing this. But if you would space the list out to like 50, I think the other 2 years are stronger overall.
This year's got to be the weakest I've, since 2013, hands down. I mean, I got like 8s in my list here. In my top 10
I've
right
had 8s in my top 10 every year except for this year.
Really? Yeah, I mean, the last couple years, I mean, they've been really competitive with a lot of 9s and shit like that. But yeah, this year, I don't know, man. It's just not floating my boat.
Yeah,
it's so weird. I feel like I'm almost like the opposite on you guys all the time, because like last year I was very low on the year until like the final stretch when I started watching a lot of movies I had missed, and I got
last
so
year
many,
was
like,
very consistent.
8.5s.
Yeah, I thought last year was very consistent right from the get-go. I mean, every year starts out a little bit slower because that's just the way it is. But I felt like it had a nice little consistency throughout the whole year, and I never really got bored of the year. And then 2 years ago, I thought it was just phenomenal. Like 2015 was a great-ass year.
I think in terms of pure quality throughout, I think 2015 is the strongest year, personally. Even though insane. I started with 8s at 2015. I don't know, it's weird. Like, I look at my list now, and I feel like a lot of the films on my list wouldn't have made it, though, because I've seen other films since then. Like, I don't think The Green Inferno would have made my list if I did a reevaluation.
I still can't believe to this day that movie actually made your list. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because remember, I was even like, man, that's crazy. Like, because I mean, it wasn't that popular for a top 10 list from that year, and it's just just being the type of film too. It was kind of a shock. But
like 2014, you started with 9s. So, like, that was a really strong year for you. I started with 8s on that year. I think 2013, I started with 7s, No, I started with 8s.
Holy shit, yeah.
Jeremy started with a 6.5. You started with an 8.5, but then you started with an 8.5 and then had 3 8s after that.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but 2013, I mean, that was probably the least amount of films that we watched. I mean, 2013 wasn't
I think I had like 20 or something, I just watched the like top most I mean, I did it too. My list is messed up. I have number 6 is an 8.5, and then number 5 and 4 is an 8.
Was that,
and 3.
Was that you guys' first like year of doing that too?
I did it in 2012, but I probably only watched 10 or 15 movies for 2012.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I compiled the list too. I don't know where I did it or how I did it, but yeah. I mean, 13.
If you look now, we have 8 top 10 lists on the website that we've done. So we did 68, 86, 96, 2002, 2013, 14, 15, and 16, and we're about to add a 9th with 2017, which is so cool. Like, I just think it's one of the
2016 was a fun list for me because I was just getting hammered during the end of it, like swearing and slurring my words and stuff.
That's the way those list shows should be.
Those are usually how they go. 2015 was like that big time.
Actually, technically, there'll be a 10th one too because we still have the 76 show to do.
Yeah, which will be a little later in 2018, but I was hoping to get 2 of them done in 2018. We'll see how that goes. It's kind of reliant upon Exploding Heads at this point, because I know they wanted to take a little break and kind of slow down a little bit. So I feel like that won't last super long because one of the biggest things that I told Brandon that I've noticed from doing podcasting so long is you get really overwhelmed, kind of like just burn out, and then you take a break, and by like week 2.5 you're just like, dude, I can't wait to get back, like you miss it so much. So this will be their first like break. I think they said they're taking most of January off, so we'll see how they feel afterwards.
It gives me a chance to hit the 10 spot. Yes.
The top 10s. Yeah.
Like opening up the door for a few shows to actually get in there, really.
Another thing I want to shout out, because I think a lot of people kind of missed this. We released our first commentary. It was the Hip Hop Witch, and I played a little bit of it at work just to show some coworkers like what I did, and like, dude, they were laughing. Like, so I think it actually is kind of funny. It was miserable for us, but I actually think it is a pretty damn funny commentary, and it's a video, so you watch the movie with us. It's on horrorphilia.com. I recommend instead of downloading, just stream it from like a desktop. Just hit play, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
And I could stream it from my phone also. Some people said they were having issues with that. It is a big file, so it might be if you're on like your actual like 4Gs or whatever, it might be a little laggy, but if you're on like Wi-Fi, you should be cool. So definitely please check that out, because like I thought it was a cool little project that we did that I feel like a lot of people missed.
Mm-hmm. I watched it 4 times.
That's insane, man.
Fucking funniest thing you guys ever did.
Dude, the best part of that whole thing is when Jeremy's like, and they still this fucking car? Oh, dude, I was dying.
No, there's some random parts with Jeremy in it too. Like one random part that he did was like, I wish that a white naked dude would just run by right now. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's pretty random.
So check that out, guys. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right to do. I mean, honestly, like doing commentary is not my favorite thing in the world to do, but I mean, I had fun.
It was our first one. I think we definitely have some room for improvement, but I truly do think that we could do a much better job, and I'm not saying this one's bad either, but I'm saying like that was a blind commentary, right? We went in without ever seeing the movie. If we did a movie we'd seen, like Children of the Corn 5 or something, it'd be a little bit more easy, I guess.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. But that is legitimately one of the shittiest films ever. Like, it was a good first one to do, even though we hadn't seen it before, because it was so bad that all we could do was just poke fun at it the entire time. Like, it's basically not even a movie. It's that fucking bad.
It really isn't. It's like the least movie we've ever seen, and we've watched Howling 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just wait till next week, JP, when you review Slaughter Claws. Oh man, you thought the Hip Hop Witch was bad. It's a fucking masterpiece compared to that.
Dude, that's insane. I can't even believe that. Like,
yo, you're gonna pat me on the back, man.
Who gave you that movie for review?
I can tell you in a minute.
I don't know actually, but yeah, it's on a whole different level of shitty.
It might have been Matt Janowski because he was pushing that like 1 year when you guys had it on the poll.
It might have been.
Man,
it probably was.
I think Slaughter Claws would even be hard to do as a commentary because it's that bad. Oh shit! I can't wait for you to watch it, man.
It was Matt Janikowski.
Nice. I'm good at that shit.
Fucking awesome shit.
Damn.
But yeah, man. So Christmas special coming up next week, and then we are on an official 2-week break.
Yeah. So that episode will post on the 20th, and you won't get another one till the, I believe, 10th. So it's more like 3 weeks till they hear another episode. But I'm really excited for that break. We're gonna go really, really hard on 2017 watches. I feel like I've seen a ton, but I probably have a good 20 films to watch still. So that should be fun. Is there any big ones that you still haven't seen, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're. I still haven't seen Mother.
Okay, that's probably one of the bigger ones.
I wanted to check out like The Tunnel. It sounded pretty cool when you guys talked about it. Like the lore, that one sounded pretty cool. I don't know if these ones are like, I need to watch them or not. I mean, the Berlin Syndrome, I heard that was pretty cool. I don't know. I think I've seen the majority of the films. I have been doing a little bit of Googling and checking out lists and things like that, and I've seen most of the films. So with the exception of these ones, I'm still confused on I Am a Hero, if that's eligible for this year or if it's not eligible.
Moo's got to watch the one I told him to watch.
Yeah, I just don't know if I Am a Hero is eligible or what the story is with that because it's
you haven't asked me.
Yeah, well, I've seen it. I saw it on one list already. And I saw a guy talking about it in a video, and he's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, this one is being counted for 2017, but it's kind of got a weird history because it came out in 2015, played in the festivals, and never really got like a wide release, but it was still playing in festivals in 16 and 17, but it has a fucking Blu-ray release. So that's the weird thing.
When did it get a Blu-ray release?
This year. In 2017, but it was still playing in like random countries and film festivals, and I think it did get a theatrical. I'm not sure how wide it was. But it's very confusing when you read the history of the release. So, but I'm like, what it all comes down to, it actually has a Blu-ray release, which you can get on Amazon.com. But I got to see it though. Like, I mean, I've been hearing nothing but crazy, awesome things. So maybe look into
far,
that one.
I'm not seeing anything that says that it was released in 2016. Like, I see that it had a release for festivals.
Yeah, festivals, yeah. In 15 and 16.
2015, for the most part. And it made its debut in Japan in 2016.
Yeah.
But I don't see it here for like any type of VOD or anything. So it definitely could be. I'll look further into it after we get off air, but it seems all signs point to a 2017 release. So
yeah, that's I was kind of leaning towards too. It just has a weird history, considering it was like 2015, and I don't know if we're gonna start incorporating like a statute of limitations on films, or else the Intruder from '76 or whatever is eligible for this year.
Yeah,
just made its way to media this year. First time.
I would say that whatever All the Boys Love Mandy Lane is,
yeah,
that is probably the statute of limitations. Like anything before that gap. Because that was like a true like that, because you need evidence on a circumstance, like a situation, to kind of put a cap on something. And I think that's probably the best example of a film, because that was made years before it was released, and it had no release. So I'll look into that and see what that one was, and maybe we'll go with that.
Yeah, it was like something like what, 6 years or something, or 7 years or some shit like that. It's a long time.
Yeah, so it was initially released in 2006 at a Toronto Film Festival. And then it didn't get its like official release until 2009. So
that's all
3 years.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. Oh wait, never mind. It was 2013. That's when it got its.
So it was 7
release.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
that is
so pretty much probably like I'd probably say 10 years, 10 years, somewhere around there.
So basically, if within a decade.
Yeah, we're very, very like picky on our rules, and we weren't in like the first 2 years, and actually like there's a few like that even our 2002 show we messed up with the Frailty, like that's a 2001 film. So since then I've tried to really tighten it up, you know what I mean, and really try to pinpoint like our rules and make it just as consistent as possible.
Yeah, that was a weird one because every list I've ever seen that movie on is like on a 2002 list.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of an interesting one.
That's
but
weird.
It's kind of a tough one to leave off, though, right? I mean, especially in a year like 2002, you leave off that film, and it's like, well, what do you got?
The Ring would have been number one.
So would Feed the Light be technically this year too, since it was like it was just Scandinavian film and it came out this year?
I have it listed in my 2017 watches as a 2017 release, but I think so. I mean,
Now I gotta look again.
Because I'm pretty sure, man. Yeah, because it came out, or it had film festival in what? 14?
Yeah, it had a film festival. Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
In 14.
Yeah, it seems like it only had one film festival release in 2014,
and then it just made its way right to Blu-ray in 2017. So technically, I mean, that's the 2017 release, right?
Is just based on my quick little research. Yes, I think the same thing goes for Bag Boy Lover Boy, which I think is like 2015 film, but it didn't get it only had festival circuit before 2015.
It's kind of like a Mask situation.
I mean, the way my top 10 is right now, if I was to do my top 10 by rankings, that movie would actually be in my top 10 right now. Bag Boy Lover Boy.
I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, it's just
honestly,
it's just interesting because I rated it like 8 out of 10, right? And it's in my top 10. That's blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, it might be in mine too. It just depends on like my ranking of. I gotta rank some films and rewatch some stuff too.
I got to rewatch Feed the Light actually. I kind of watched it one night and I was like in and out of it and stuff, but
yeah, that one took me a few watches, but like. It was the third time I watched it, and that was the third time when I did my review. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a short enough film though to do that. I mean, it only runs like 75 minutes or something like that, so it's definitely. But I kept getting sidetracked, and that one's one you have to kind of pay attention to. So I was kind of going like, "What the fuck is going on here?" So, but I don't know. Gonna definitely re-watch that one. And get to these other fucking films, man.
Yeah, you gotta watch Tag Moods.
I know, that's another one that's actually on my list. That was the next one I was actually going to mention.
I haven't even heard of that one, so
Tag
I guess
and
I better add that to my list too.
Which
it's a Sonny Sono film, JP. If you never heard, he directed like Suicide Club. Did you ever hear of that film?
Nope.
Oh, that's great. It's an Asian film, so it might be like maybe a little out there for you.
Yep, probably won't make my list. I ain't even watching it.
That's crazy, dude. Stein Sutton, he's like one of the best filmmakers out there right now, man.
Yeah, he's like the Dario Argento of Japan.
Yeah, he's really legitimately good, man. Like, all his film... Yeah, he's an excellent filmmaker. It's crazy. So yeah, that's exciting. Got to check that one out, too.
I mean, I to be fair, I had 2 Asian films on my list last year.
Man,
2.
I think I had like 4 or 5 or some crazy thing, man. I haven't seen a lot of Asian films this year. Has there been lots? Like, I mean, I know there was
nothing really in the horror.
You had 2 as well, Moods. Asian films.
Okay, I know my number 1 was, but
the same 2.
Not really for the horror aspect of like Asian. There's a lot of like, well, because I've been watching a lot of non-Asian stuff too for our year-end show. For like that aspect, and there's some pretty good ones that I'll recommend to you if you guys want to check out some non-horror Asian stuff.
Nope.
Oh. Ooh.
That's awesome. All right, man. Let's move this along here. Let's get into some news.
Do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right. So news-wise, little lighter this week. I would expect it to be light for the rest of the year. Just some announcements. Bloody Disgusting put out a little article that I thought was pretty cool. They said it was the worst summer movie season in a decade, but horror fans aren't sweating it. Our genre killed it in 2017. 2 films continue to hit milestones, collectively nearing 800 million worldwide. So it, on a $6 million budget, is about to hit 700 million worldwide.
So I would say that's a pretty good success. Holy fuck.
Yep, and even this film, which is a complete shock when I read this. I was like, what the hell? Considered to be a bad entry in the franchise, which I didn't think so, but a lot of people critically did. Saw is actually close to topping 100 million worldwide. So Jigsaw, 100 million worldwide.
Man,
so could potentially be a Saw, 9?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't fully surprise me that it did that well, because it is part of the Saw franchise. I mean, relatively speaking, every Saw film is done well. They've all made money.
Yeah, Saw 3D only made 40 million worldwide, though.
Yeah, but the point, they've all not lost money. They've done pretty well for themselves, but this one's a little bit overachieving in my opinion, considering the quality of the film. Like, I didn't care for it that much. I thought it was pretty much maybe the second weakest in the whole franchise. But to be doing those numbers is crazy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of reviews. There was a lot of people moaning and groaning about it and stuff. And people just continuously went and seen it because it's part of the Saw franchise. The power of the franchise films, right?
I was surprised to hear that, though, because I just didn't think that there would be that much interest in Saw still. But apparently I was wrong on that one. If you include Split, Get Out, Annabelle Creation, and other genre films, horror could pretty much top over $2 billion this year, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's almost too bad that Mancini didn't put out Cult of Chucky and in the cinema. It almost seems like that would have been probably a film that made money in the cinema, I bet. Just considering how popular horror's been with theatrical releases this year, I think it probably would have done pretty well. I wonder if he's kicking himself on that. I don't think it's up to him. I think that's a Universal call right there. Yeah, or even Universal. The wigs over at Universal, just considering all things, these movies that are completely, I would say, a little bit overachieving, and being from a beloved franchise like Child's Play, you think that movie would have done pretty well, considering all circumstances this summer. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Child's Play film gets a theatrical release, to be honest. Yeah, they would need to I think they would want to put a little bit more money into it. Yeah. I'm curious to see how bad the leak hurt it, if it was still considered a pretty big success. Because, with Curse of Chucky, they were talking that it was a huge success, but we'll have to see how that goes. It kind of shows. It showcases itself, though. When there's that much interest, we all know that bootlegging and the leaks and stuff do hurt, the overall sales and things like that. But you can look at it as a good and bad thing, though, too, because when films get leaked and people are actually, excited for it and they're actually checking it out and stuff like that, it's showing a lot of interest in it, too, right? Films get leaked. Yeah, definitely. I think there's always going to be interest in Child's Play for sure. Yeah. Personally, I think that the last two did feel like direct-to-video films. Mm-hmm. So if they were to put it out in a theater, I think they would need to pump up the budget a little bit. And honestly, I don't know if they would keep the continuity. I feel like that's more of a remake idea there. Yeah, maybe.
Just speaking from a studio point of view.
If it's going to be a theatrical one, they have to like take it out of like that, because the last two were like in this contained setting.
So for some reason, studios feel that if it has been 5 or 6 years or something since a film, like they feel like nobody will remember it and they have to reboot it. Like look at all the franchises, right? Like the ones that do stay theatrical. It's like Texas Chainsaw 3D, like, you know, like you had those two awesome, you know, remake and prequel, and then so many years had passed, they're like, oh, well, we can't do another one of those, which it might be true, but I tend to want to believe that people wouldn't really have a problem with a sequel.
No, that mentality's bullshit, in my opinion. I mean, that just got discredited by, you know, even Jigsaw coming out. I mean, it's technically another
if you look
sequel,
at it, though,
and it did really well.
It's not a ton. That's the thing that people were complaining about, that they didn't really keep a ton of continuity from the previous films. They kind of just did a new Jigsaw story.
Yeah.
So they probably even feared that, which is sucky because that's why you get stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's up in the air with me.
I mean, we'll know if... I mean, this whole conversation is discredited when The Howling puts out a new theatrical film. And that's not a remake.
Yeah.
The Howling fucking 10.
D. Wallace is back somehow.
fucking horror's doing so well, man. The new Witchcraft movie, part 19, theatrical. Fuck. Oh, Christ. All right,
so just a little update. It's not like a huge bit of news or anything, but apparently the director Cameron Romero, George A. Romero's son, has announced that he is casting for Rise of the Living Dead, which is going to be like a prequel, I guess, to the famed Night of the Living Dead, directed by his father. So...
Yeah, I already heard that Nicolas Cage is already standing in line.
That's funny.
Not the zombies.
Man, I really hope this movie turns out to be good. You know? It's one of those things where I just don't want it to fail. Like, I don't want it to be shitty. I just feel like that would suck major floppy donkey cocks.
Yep.
Right?
I agree with that.
I just feel like this is it's almost like you're kind of treading in you know, shark infested waters with this idea, man. Like, I don't know. Let's hope for the best with that one.
Yeah, I hope it does good. You know what I mean? Or it is good. You know what I mean?
I don't really care about the actual success. I just hope the film is good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you wanted to enjoy it because it's George's son, and he's trying to regain his like father's legacy with like his franchise and stuff.
Yeah, I can already see the criticism right now. You know, he's not his dad. He's not his dad. You know, fuck. You know?
Yeah. After that, we have the announcement for. It's pretty funny because like I've noticed that 2018 seems to be pretty big for releases right early on. Like, there's already like 4 or 5 films I'm interested in checking out in January, which is pretty crazy. Like Killing of a Sacred Deer. I think Day of the Dead Bloodline comes out then, which was news, but I don't know if I got that last week.
Which is actually interesting in itself, though, because that many movies coming out in January, generally you may maybe see one, you know, all month kind of thing. It's like such a slow month usually.
Insidious Chapter 4 is January.
That's crazy.
And also, this film here got announced. It's coming to VOD in January. That is the remake of Inside. Screenplay was written by the guy who did Wreck.
Oh man, American remake of Inside. I don't know. Is it going to be just a downplayed version like the Martyrs remake was?
It's so funny to lump those together, right? Because those films have been synonymous with each other for so long, being French Extreme films, the Fab Five, if you will, part of that. And then they both have remakes within like a year of each other. And the Martyrs remake was like tame as... It was like literally the same movie, but just tame.
Yeah.
So it's like it literally played into all the stereotypes of why you don't remake foreign films for American audiences. Yep. Like, because I've always been like not opposed to it. And that film like totally just completely played into the
typical
stereotype.
100%. 100%.
It did, definitely.
I mean, and we called that too, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we even said right on the show, I'm like, I have a feeling this Martyrs remake is going to be, kind of a shot-for-shot remake, but just downplayed, and it's exactly what it turned out to be. So, I mean, I'm expecting the same thing with Inside. I can't imagine them going all hardcore extreme, or maybe they took a look at what happened with the Martyrs remake, and they said, well, fuck, man, we can't downplay this shit, man. We gotta we gotta fight for, making this thing a little bit more extreme.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. What was really silly wasn't the Martyrs remake done by Blumhouse too?
I think it was.
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I feel like Blumhouse really, really they kind of know, they have their ear to the ground very well, and I feel like that film got like such a poor release because they knew that it wasn't going to be a hit. And they kind of just dropped it on there, and I've seen them do that with other films too. So like, I think they kind of take if they make a bad movie, I feel like they take the route where they don't put that much effort and money into promoting it if they don't feel it's good.
Yeah, of course. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of Blumhouse. That I'm not a fan of. That movie was pretty trash.
Yeah, it was.
But good.
No, I was gonna say, like, I did enjoy the aspects of like the first act of it, but then when they got into like the other second and third acts, it kind of takes like a different shift that the original Martyrs had that this one didn't have.
You say it takes a different shift? No, it took a different shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Essentially, it just took a fucking steamy shit, man, in the second half of that one. Fuck.
Yeah.
So after that, we have there's an announcement made last week that announced the Pet Sematary remake, and now we have a scheduled release date for that film. It is April 19th, 2019 from Paramount. So it seems like Stephen King adaptations are in again with the three fantastic releases we saw this year. From adaptations. It seems like everybody who has Stephen King properties is like, let's jump on board this King train, which I believe 19 is also the scheduled release date for It. So pretty strategic planning of release date for Pet Sematary. I don't really know what you do with Pet Sematary. I feel like the only way you can make it more successful is if you made it darker, because I think the original Pet Sematary is, one, it's a really good adaptation in terms of like following the book, and two, it's pretty damn solid movie. So like, I don't know what you could really improve on. Like, just, thinking about our review of the Pet Sematary 1 and 2 films that we did, what could you really improve on with Pet Sematary?
I don't know, man. Why don't we flip the script here? Like all these, Americans remaking, European films and stuff. How about we let someone in Europe remake this film, and maybe they'll get it right? Make it all extreme and shit like that. That would be kind of, when you flip the whole thing, that's kind of interesting. Like the Norwegians, they go and remake Pet Sematary, and it's just fucking batshit crazy. I'd like to see that shit, man.
Because they don't own it. I think that would be. You mean like bring in a Norwegian director?
Yeah, well, I mean, how Americans are just constantly remaking European films. Like we're picking up the rights to all these things and remaking them and stuff. Just flip that script and have like a European, say like it's some German. In Germany they remake fucking Pet Sematary.
No,
I mean, you could probably
I don't want Germany to remake Pet Sematary.
Why not?
I don't really like German films that much. I guess I haven't been too. I don't. For one, I don't like German, the way the German language sounds. So, it's really gross sounding to me.
It was just an example. I was, Scandinavia, like like Norway or something like that. They go and remake Pets. I think that would be really intriguing. I'd like to see.
It would just never work. Like, how would that work? Like they're American-owned films. So some studio would have to auction the rights in there to get
Well, it works the same way as, the Americans remaking these European films.
Yeah, but we typically have studios with like a lot of money, while they don't.
Well, it's not entirely true. I mean, there's definitely studios that could probably afford to do something like that, but it's interesting when you really think about it that it just never happens that way. Like European countries
I think there was only like one film that I've ever seen that happen to. It was one of the Artsploitation releases. What the hell was it called? It was like
Relentless.
Reckless. Yeah, that was
Reckless. Yeah, Reckless.
That was what was the original film called?
It was a UK.
The Disappearance of Alice Creed.
Yeah, which was an American film, right?
I think it was a British.
Yeah, it was a British film.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it doesn't happen very often, right? Where these foreign countries remake American films and stuff. But I think it'd be, I mean, obviously I'm just tossing shit ideas out there, but I think it would be intriguing, man, to have something like Pet Sematary, a well-known film done by like a foreign country, to pick up the rights to it and see what they could do with it. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's kind of an intriguing idea, but
the thing that I think what they would do is like make like the atmospheric like shots of like with like you were saying, moves with the foreign country, like maybe like make like this awesome like. So
would you set this film also like in that country? Like, would it be like a complete overhaul? Because we know like Pet Sematary is like set in Maine, and it's like with the trucking route and stuff like that. So would it be like a complete like cultural adaptation as well?
Honestly, if I was to say either way, I would think set it out in the country in say in Norway or something like that. It basically the same kind of setting, but it's actually set in Norway.
Yeah, I don't know why they should get on doing that. I don't know why they don't.
It would actually be kind of interesting to watch a film like that. It'd be kind of cool. I mean,
it would be cool.
Like it could work, but yeah.
So after that, we have a announcement for the director who's going to be handling Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. We have Andre Avredel, the Norwegian filmmaker behind Troll Hunter and The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Really?
That's just so strange. Just talking about Norwegian. Random.
Yep.
Love Troll Hunter, man. That shit's awesome.
I loved Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Yeah, that one's good
I love
too.
both.
I haven't seen Troll Hunter, so I can't comment on
really?
it. Really? I think that it looked pretty good. So after that, what do we got here? Scream Factory announced a few things. They announced some more Steelbooks from John Carpenter films. So you got Assault on Precinct 13 as well as Prince of Darkness, limited to 10,000 copies. And these are just repackages of their original Scream Factory releases, but this time with Steelbooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just really not interested whatsoever.
You know what? I actually am going to give them credit to how they released the other ones. Like, they released The Fog, They Live, and what was the other one?
Fuck. Oh, Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Escape from New York.
Yeah.
On Steelbook, in Steelbooks. And I thought it was pretty cool because they were about like $13 at Best Buy. I thought that was a very fair price. And hey, if you really like those Carpenter films, like you have an option to get one of your favorite films in kind of a cool special edition. And I didn't buy any of them, but I considered it. I considered picking up The Fog and They Live because
I bought The Fog.
I really like They Live. And I thought it was a kind of a neat way to release those films again, and not in like a ridiculous like $35 exclusive to shoutfactory.com type release.
Oh yeah, fuck.
It seemed fair. So.
I never really thought twice, but I thought the Fog one had pretty decent artwork on it, but I wasn't overly a big fan of them. Of the artworks, they didn't really they didn't jump out at me, And same with this one, like Assault on Precinct 13. I was like.
Really? I love the Assault artwork.
I don't know, man. It was okay, I guess. Again, it just wasn't great. But the thing is, though, it's not intriguing me because I don't collect Steelbooks. Yeah. I already have those movies, like the other editions. So it's like, the fuck,
Well, one person who's picking that up.
Zach. Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The guy that owns like fucking 45 copies.
So after that, we have a announcement that Deep Blue Sea 2 will hit DVD and Blu-ray in 2018.
Man, that's so awesome, man. Are they going to get Cool J back?
Probably not. I think it's a little bit lower of a budget.
Well, fuck, man. I mean, he's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, man. You know, you can't get that guy.
I actually really like Deep Blue Sea. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best shark films made. Obviously, that the king of those films is Jaws, but when I think of like good shark films, like that list is not very jam packed.
No, there isn't that many great shark films. There's a lot of fun ones, you know.
Yeah, but I think that good old Deep Blue Sea is pretty fun, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
like I've always liked.
It's so weird. I don't even own that film. I have a lot of
Me
shark
neither.
films. I don't even.
I don't
have
either. I don't own that movie.
Like it's almost like a giant B movie. Like they put a bunch of money into this movie and just made a B shark movie out of it, which I thought. I mean, I've always liked it. It's it's not amazing.
The fucking shark ate him.
Yeah, but Deep Blue Sea 2. That's the thing. Finally, for the news here, we have the Burbs is headed to Blu-ray, not courtesy of Scream Factory. Actually, it's part of the Shout Select line. Which is so just silly.
The Shout Select line, all they do is just like re-release films that have already been released on Blu-ray multiple times, it seems like.
The Burbs?
Yeah, man. The Burbs
Who released that?
It had a universal standard.
It was just a standard.
Yeah, but that was bare bones.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, I mean, well, how many, like, what's the special feature lineup on this? Is it like just
they didn't announce the special features yet?
Yeah, because I mean those Shout Select ones, I mean they're not really that overly packed. I mean I have the Arrow release of it and it's got some pretty good features on it, so not really.
The only thing they said is that it will be packed with bonus features. That's an actual quote from them.
Yeah, they're gonna port all over. They're gonna the Arrow ones probably.
Yeah.
Fucking thing sucks.
So, with that for the news, I kind of wanted to throw this out there. I forgot I had this posted, but I guess is a little bit of a mini knowledge segment. But basically, Bloody Disgusting posted this article: 10 horror sequels better than the original, from Megan Navarro. And I just wanted to I didn't even look at it yet, but I kind of wanted to.
I've made one of these lists before.
Yeah, me too. But let's read Megan Navarro's list. So she says,
hi,
more
Megan.
often. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Megan.
Since Bloody Disgusting likes to steal from us so much. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
But we actually give credit. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But more often than not, sequels get a bad rap. It's understandable. It's not so often that one comes close to touching what made the original so special. With this year's release of Call of Chucky came a reminder, though, that sometimes sequels often allow franchise to take bold new directions. After 6 films in the series, Call of Chucky finally took the opportunity to explore a long-time goal of Chucky's, and it opened up an insane world of possibilities. Already, I disagree with this chick. The year also brought a sequel to Annabelle. Well, more accurately, a prequel. Even still, the margin by which surpassed its predecessor was pretty large. It's not the first time either that a sequel managed to be superior to the original. So now I'm back on board with her. So first she let me down. Now I'm back on board with her. Take Amityville 2: The Possession as also sort of a prequel sequel celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. In celebration of a worthy horror sequel, let's visit 10 horror sequels that managed to be better than the original. So I agree with 2 of the 3 that she mentioned. Well, she didn't really say that Call of Chucky was better. She just said that it kind of was interesting.
I mean, even to bring that up in like your prologue to your article.
That's like the first film she mentioned.
I know. It's so like, who would ever think that Cult of Chucky is better than the original film? I don't think there's a lot of people out there that
hope nobody. I seriously hope nobody.
That's just a weird example to use, man. It's so strange. I agree with the other. I mean, I can't agree with the Annabelle one. I haven't seen Creation yet, but 100% on board with Amityville 2. I love that film. I think that's a fantastic that's a fantastic choice. And actually, that was even on my list.
Mine too.
Yeah, so.
So, okay. First up, number 10, we have Origins of Evil.
Yes.
From Ouija.
I agree.
I haven't seen this one. She said this one's pretty much given considering. Good?
It's pretty good. It's actually pretty good, man, considering the first one was very lackluster. Very cliche, very almost boring. The sequel, prequel, I guess, whatever you want to call it. It's good.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
I assumed it would be better since it's Flanagan, but she even points that out. She's like, but with such a poorly received film, how do you turn it around? You hire Mike Flanagan for one, and then you further distance the film from the original by setting it in a time period decades removed from the previous setting.
Yeah.
So, okay, I agree. The Purge Anarchy coming in at number 9, which I also agree is the best in the Purge series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I stated before, the Purge films seem to be getting better as they go along.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, they're still not great. They're still not like 10. They're still not top 10 material, but they are getting better. So hopefully, Purge 4 will not disappoint as well.
Purge 4 on a boat.
But how did they get to that island? You might ask.
they asked Trent Williams.
Yeah. Okay, so here we have Paranormal Activity 3, which I can't comment on because I have not seen it, but it seems to be a lot of fans do think that the third one is the best in the series, so yeah.
Yeah, that definitely is the consensus. I haven't seen it either, so can't comment.
Yeah. Here's the first one I'll disagree with. Hostel Part 2.
Oh, I highly disagree with that.
Yeah. So here's what she had to say about Hostel Part 2. There's a lot to like about Eli Roth's Hostel. The visuals, the brutality, and the social critique embedded in the narrative makes for a worthwhile horror film on paper. But if you're like me, you probably couldn't stand any of the main characters, and Roth made you spend quite a while with them before dispatching them in gruesome ways. Which is why Hostel Part 2 is so much better. Bigger budget, a tightened up script, and a better execution, and buckets more blood. Most importantly, these characters were empathetic. Lauren German's Paxton was far more interesting than Jay Hernandez's Paxton as the lead protagonist.
See, I'm like the complete and polar opposite. I mean, we just talked about this last week, but I even mentioned that too, that I like the characters a lot more in part 1 because I think they're a little bit more fun, and I think the ones in part 2 are a little bit more bland, forgettable. Yeah, maybe they're a little. I mean, you could still,
Do you think this is because? Do you think this is because she's a female writing about female characters, though? Maybe.
I mean, it could be, but also, I think that also. Typically, I think why those type of characters don't resonate with horror fans is because, typically horror fans are pretty nerdy people. And those people were considered like the cool people who probably did not have great experiences with, that those type of frat boys. Like me personally, I always got along with people like that. But I've also always got along with the nerdy people. I get along with everybody, even if they are obnoxious. I can still get along with them because I'm a little bit obnoxious too.
Yeah, see characters like Ollie, man. Like I have friends like that.
Yeah, Ollie's cool as shit, right? Like he's just a lunatic. Like you just know that if you're around Ollie, you're probably gonna see some balls. You're probably gonna see some ass cheeks. You're probably gonna hear some crazy outlandish stuff, and you're gonna have a ton of fun laughing.
Yeah,
dude, we used to have this running joke in my circle of friends. It's so ridiculous, but like, be like, oh man, this party's getting nut, and your nut would be like hanging out the bottom of your shorts.
Yeah, I've had friends who like Waiting, where they like
exactly.
Like, all my friends used to do that after seeing Waiting.
I know, man. I know. I definitely see my friends' balls entirely way too much in my life, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. After that, this one I can agree with. We have The Woman, which is a sequel to 2009's Offspring.
No.
It's been a while since I've seen
Offspring
both
better?
of them.
I actually don't really care. I mean, The Offspring was okay. It's okay. I mean, I don't really care for either film, to be honest.
Okay. But it's not out of the question that
if I was to actually, like, you know, critique it, I would say The Woman probably is a better film, for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would say that too.
After that, we have this one is this one I hugely disagree with. Although I like this film, it is nowhere close to the original, and it is Return of the Living Dead 3.
What?
Yeah. Do you want to hear her reasoning?
I definitely want to hear the reason, because I 100% disagree with that.
Yeah. Now, again, that doesn't mean we don't like Return of the Living Dead 3, because I absolutely love Return of the Living Dead 3.
I actually watched it, you know, about a month and a half ago. You know, Vester on Blu-ray. Uncut, man. Uncut. It's awesome.
Great addition. Yeah. All right. She says, growing up, I enjoyed the punk rock humor of Return of the Living Dead. I still do, but I love Return of the Living Dead 3 way more. It's a sequel that drops most of the humor this series is known for and takes a more serious, gorier approach, which isn't surprising considering it's helmed by Brian Yuzna. For anyone wondering why a director is so important, take the sequels as an example. There's some campy dialogue and cheese here, but Yuzna elevates the material. As for plot, it centers on a romance. Only one half of the star-crossed lovers is slowly devolving into brain-eating undead. That was weird.
I see where she's going with this, man. She's a little bit of, I don't know. I don't want to go as far to say maybe feminist, but she's definitely on the side of, you know, female leads and things like that. I mean, you know, the previous last couple examples with this film and, you know, Hostel 2, I mean, I think we can all agree. I mean, I think that's where she's relating to. That's why she's picking these over the originals. It's interesting.
Her final sentence is, Melinda Clarke owns the role and the special effects team delivers some amazing work. So, yeah, like, she's kind of high on Melinda Clarke, as am I. She was great in that movie. But for sure, it is not as good as the original.
No, it definitely isn't, man. Melinda Clarke, man, might even be one of the sexiest women ever.
Yeah, and I don't even like redheads, dude. But I'm
beautiful, man. She's so unbelievably beautiful. Like, even years later when she was the mom on the OC, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show.
She played Misha Barton's mom,
Yeah, dude, and she was so fucking gorgeous on that show too, man. Oh yeah. Damn, man. She's one hottie, man. Oh. Yeah, and you know what? I'm not like the hugest fan of redheads either, but she does it, man.
Love him.
All right, next up we have Maniac Cop 2, which I agree, actually. I like Maniac Cop 2 more than the original. I think it's better, too.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that was also another one that was on my list, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. And this one I 100% agree with. Like, this is one of my favorite sequels. It might have even been my number one when I did this list, but it is The Devil's Rejects, sequel to The House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, I agree. I love both films, but yeah, I definitely take The Devil's Rejects over House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, same here. I love the aesthetic and just the look of that film. It's just awesome.
All right, next up, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. I've never seen it, so I can't comment, but I don't really like the first one, so I wouldn't be surprised if I like the second one more.
I know I'm definitely 100% in the minority here, but my favorite Prom Night film is Prom Night 3. I love that movie. The uncut version. Not that shitty-ass double feature TV cut that a lot of people have and it's floating around. If you see this shit, Part 3 uncut, man, it's actually really fucking fun, but I think Part 3 is the best one in the franchise. Hands down.
It's been a while since I've seen any of these to comment on these, you know what I mean?
But I mean, if we are talking about strictly, like, you know, the first sequel, like, you know, Prom Night 2, yeah, I agree, man. It's definitely better than the original one.
All right.
Yeah.
After that, another one that I agree with, because I think it's the second best in the franchise, and that is Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Yep.
Not the best sequel, but I do think it's better than the original.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Me too.
And that was it for the list, but I thought that was a pretty interesting list. There's only about two that I extremely disagreed with there, being Return of the Living Dead 3 and Hostel Part 2.
She could probably even put that on a top 10 unpopular opinions list right there. Hostel 2 over the original one. I mean, there
are some people that do prefer the second one. I think Carly prefers the second one.
Really?
Yeah, it must be a woman thing.
It definitely is, man. Definitely is.
I do love that sky scene, though. That scene's awesome in that movie.
With what?
You know, the scene with the scythe.
Oh, the
yeah.
scythe.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That scene is, it's awesome. It's brutal.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was cool, though. That was cool. Top 10 sequels, man.
I thought it was pretty cool, for sure. So the only thing else here that before we get into what we watched is we actually did get a email sent in from Dave from Exploding Heads. He sent us in an audio clip, which I believe we did announce that we will return the voicemail segment in 2018. We're just going to be a little bit more careful on the amount of voicemails we choose, because we don't want to bog the show down too much with just voicemails, because let's face it, we were getting a ton of voicemails at one point, and it was just it was a lot.
Especially during an infamous Night of the Demon show.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I've been kind of tossing around the idea for next year too of not having the same segments on every show. So maybe one week we can do voicemails, and then the following week we won't have them, and then maybe one week we'll do dead mail or something like that, and then the following week we won't.
Yeah.
And even incorporate things like I was even thinking, even while while we were doing that top 10, sequel, better than the original film stuff, like even having segments of top 5, quick little top 5 lists and stuff like that. Because I know you threw around the idea for top 5 Fridays and stuff for videos and things, but I think it wouldn't be that bad. I mean, not to rack your brain with these top 5 lists, but if you guys like that idea, just let us know. Because
I definitely want to incorporate more top 10 type material. Like we have a hidden gem show planned that was planned forever, but we'll probably get to that in 2018, and just other types of shows to where we're not necessarily reviewing films in the sort of main event section of the episode. Kind of spice it up a bit and do a little bit of different things every once in a while.
Yeah, it's always cool, man. We're actually bouncing ideas off of some similar things in my show, so it always works out. You want to just keep it fresh and new, you know what I mean, and do different things at the same time, but you can always go back to the old format that everyone enjoys also, Yep. All
right, so with that said, I'm going to play this voicemail from Dave.
Hey, yo!
Exploding Heads. It's 6 minutes and 8 seconds long, so get ready.
You've got mail.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Dave Z. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. Just a couple things I wanted to address. First of all, thank you very much for the props on the Slasher show, especially from you, JP. We really appreciate it. We worked really hard on it, and we know that you guys know exactly what goes into a show like that and how serious we take it. So, thank you. Oh, one thing you got wrong, though, JP. I watched 130 movies, homie, not 80. Come on, man. Give me some credit there.
I actually don't know where I came up with that number. I don't know why I said that. But I guess I was wrong on a little bit of statistics there. So I think maybe I was thinking of what he had said for his 2017 list, but I could be wrong on that too. Watch, he'll correct me next week and be like, actually, I'm at 98 for that one. So you got that one wrong too. But yeah. All right, continuing.
But yeah, I watched 130. Brandon was like 144, I think. Christian was 170. So
Jesus
I went into it. So thank you very much for all of that, for the props and everything. Now, Eli Roth. Let me just say one thing. I didn't know about the Ryan Turek thing with Shockwave, so when I cited them, I had no idea. But I will tell you this, and I have no reason to defend Ryan Turek, because that son of a bitch still owes me Paranormal Activity DVDs that he stiffed me on. But anyway, Eli Roth was in the right in that situation. There's no question. So anything I heard about Eli Roth was back when they were Killer POV, and it was from Becca and Elric, who are the two coolest cats on the show, and you probably agree. They got the best personalities, and they're just cool. And I've talked to them personally.
I actually disagree. I like Rob the best. So, yeah, I mean, I think I like all three of them, but I think Elric is a little like, I disagree with what he says like so often. Becca's cool though, but yeah. You guys listen to Shockwaves?
I like Becca, man. She's cool, man.
Yeah, I listen to it like here and there. I like all three of them, to be honest, but
yeah, I like them all too, man. I mean, it's just like every show. I mean, when you listen to it, I'm agreeing with some things and I'm disagreeing with some things, and from all people, kind of thing, right? So it is.
It happens.
Yeah. I think I might like Rob most because I actually had some interactions with Rob like years before that he did that podcast, just like online and stuff. But when he did the Psycho Legacy documentary.
Yeah.
I was talking to him about that a little bit. So anyway, continuing.
Everything, they're cool as hell. But anyway, the story I heard was this. Elric was introduced to Eli Roth by a friend of his at some event in Los Angeles, and the setup was actually funny because his friend told him, hey, I just want to introduce you to this guy so you can see how much of a douchebag he is. So Elric's like, okay. So he brings him over to Eli Roth, and he introduces him, and Elric's like, well, I did shake his hand, or he said he did shake my hand, but he extends his hand, doesn't even look me in the face, and the whole time he's doing it, he's looking around the room, to see who else is more important that he could talk to. He barely addressed me, he didn't say anything. He was like, hey, and whatever, and he just felt like a douchey move, he said, and that's all he said there. And then Becca piped in, she goes, you know what, that makes sense, because when I interviewed him for Fangoria, he's right in front of me, and the whole time I'm interviewing him and talking to him, didn't even look at me. He just kept his face in his phone and looked down in there and surfed around and didn't even pretend like I mattered much, just enough to interview me and answer a few questions, and that was it. But he was, she goes, I had the same experience. He just disregarded me. So, a couple experiences like that, and, common courtesy is something I'm big on. I don't care, me personally, if I'm sad, depressed, mad, whatever's going on in my life, I always extend common courtesy to everyone. I just, when you hear things like that from numerous people, I think it does factor in a little bit. It should. I think it should, because it goes both ways. When I hear someone's great, and I never hear a bad thing about a guy like Bill Moseley or this or that or anybody, and then you meet him, you know what? It all just about always seems to ring true. Same thing it goes both ends of the spectrum. You hear that this woman's a bitch or this guy's an asshole and this and then. You know what? A lot of experiences, people come out and they say it. And I have a little more insight on that because I worked in Las Vegas for 10 years. I got to meet athletes, celebrities, different people like that. And word spreads around town how they act. And usually, actually every time I've heard that so-and-so was this or an asshole or so-and-so was really cool, it always rang true. So, I do factor in, yes, you should form your own opinions, but, where there's smoke, there's fire, I think. And I think he does come off douchey just because of things like that. I don't think it has anything to do with his looks, because if you look at other directors, Adam Green and Mike Flanagan, they're normal-looking guys too. So, I don't know. But maybe his dialogue, so him and Rob Zombie can only seem to write white trash, and he can only seem to write, those type of characters that he writes. What do you guys call them? Frat boys or whatever? I don't know. I'm not even opposed to his movies, actually. I like most of his movies. So I have nothing, and I'm not the kind of guy that's going to comment and say, oh yeah, he's an asshole. I don't do that, but JP, we've talked about this, just personally. We all have, I think. So that's all I have to say about that. It is what it is. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. That's all I'm saying with Eli Roth. But whatever. I think he's a smart businessman. I won't take that away from him. He's right in the middle, and I appreciate the fact that he's a fan. I love that about him. That is cool. He has his knowledge. He's into it. That's really cool, man. So you can't hate on a guy for that, but you should have common courtesy. You should remember where you came from and shit like that. That's just my opinion. Jeremy, 2 things. Number 1, franchise shows. We're doing them now because we passed our 2-year mark. We said we weren't going to do any major franchise shows until we've been around 2 years because we didn't want to do that typical, stereotypical podcast shit that everyone does. And we didn't want to do that mostly because, I had experience before with my shows and Christian with his. We've covered all that stuff a lot. So we didn't want anyone to say, hey, they're doing the same old recycled stuff that they've done in the past. So now that 2 years has passed, now we're kind of gonna just do what we want. And as far as Patreon, check it out. No, we have not done your guys' selection, but check it out. We have 2 for you. I believe that we paid for 2 not franchise shows, 2 whatever. trilogies. We haven't even told you what we want yet, so it's going both ways, man. We're not rushing. We're cool. We can't get our hands on the damn movies that you guys talked about, so it's going to take some time. But so there you go. That's why we're taking some time there. But I think that's it. I hope I'm not leaving anything out. But anyway, yeah, I won't ramble on anymore than I have to. I appreciate it. You guys are still my favorite show. Love you guys. Exploding Heads, all love you. So talk to you guys later. Peace.
All right, so that was the voicemail / audio clip that Dave sent in. And one thing that I will say is, yes, he is correct. Me and Brandon actually talked about it a little bit, where we were really busy. Like, I think we had a crazy schedule going into October, and we both kind of, like, I asked if he was doing our show that Moods picked for him, which was the I don't know if they announced it, so I won't say it, but it was a trilogy, and he said probably not until 2018, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess we're not doing yours till 2018 either. And we kind of had a gentleman's agreement on that, because really we didn't even have a spot to fit it in anyway.
No, we didn't.
Which they have 2 for us, so 2 trilogy shows or whatever. So I'm sure once they do ours, then we'll do theirs or whatever. But yeah, so we did have a gentleman's agreement on that. Now I can't speak for the rest of your Patreon supporters. Derek, are you a Patreon supporter of Exploding Heads?
Yeah, I actually did talk to Dave about it. I said, because they were busy at the time and stuff, I'll save them and we'll do a giant show themed out. You know what I mean?
Okay,
it's kind of like
you actually have.
Yeah, I made an agreement with him. Yeah, I talked to Dave about it.
Okay. And also he mentioned like the Eli Roth and I've heard those stories too from Becca and Elric. I don't remember them 100%, but I can tell you this. If one of my friends comes up to me and says, or somebody I know says, I want to introduce you to this guy just so you can see how big of a douchebag he is, I don't like that mentality, right? Like I just don't like that type of I'm going to introduce you to it, because you go in suspecting he's a
because
douchebag.
You're already planting the seed in this person's mind that this guy's going to be a fucking asshole.
Yes.
So you're going to come out thinking he's a
Roth,
fucking asshole.
So even if Eli Roth was like, oh, hey, how's it going, or whatever, and it was just like real short, like you now have a extra seed of information that you didn't have beforehand, to where you might just look at that as like, oh, he's busy, or oh, he's got something on his mind or something like that. But now you're looking and you're forcing it to say that he's a douchebag. Now, in terms of the Becca talking to him and him looking at his phone or something, like, dude, I say this all the time. You do not know what's going on in someone's life, right? There could be any number of things going on, and these people are forced to be in these situations where they have an event to appear at or an interview to do or something like that, and they have to do it because they made a commitment. And so instead of canceling it altogether, they try to just deal with whatever they're dealing with in their personal life while also going through it so they don't break that commitment, which is actually a nice gesture to do and you know, I'm not making excuses. Maybe he is just a douchebag, right? That's possible too.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, those two experiences do not sell me on somebody being a douchebag at all. Because I'll tell you right now, if there's something going on in my life and I have to do 1,000 fucking interviews all the time and all this stuff, nobody knows what that's like also, right? Like, I see people who, with half the fame of these people, get very annoyed and very rude towards their fans and things like that. Now imagine being, you know, a superstar or something like that. I can't even picture what it would be like to have to shake hands with 1 million people. And it's just, and the same thing with Adam Green, right? Like when I met him, some people he was really short with, some people he wasn't. He clearly had a lot of things going on. I can't imagine what it's like to have to talk to that many people. I know I wouldn't be able to handle it that much. Like I would probably be considered a douchebag to a lot of people, because listen, just because you, like, here's another thing. Just because you want to meet me doesn't mean that you're a cool person, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that. Who knows? Like maybe Eli didn't like something that Becca had said about him before. You know what I mean? Or wrote about him. And maybe he was just like, I'm not going to fuck with this person. You know what I mean? And it's entirely possible. Or maybe she said something about one of his friends. You know, we don't know all the information. So to kind of, you know, chastise Eli Roth, is that a word, chastise?
It is.
Yeah.
Eli Roth for, you know, these now third party or fourth party, like fourth person removed stories, I think is kind of not fair, honestly. But I don't think Dave was saying that he believes them either, but he's just weary.
Yeah. Yeah, I take that shit with a grain of salt. I'm just like, I really don't give a fuck, because I'm the type of person that always, you know, I conjure up my own opinion on things, and that's just the way it is with me. You know, I don't really have a specific opinion personally, because I've never met Eli Roth, but I know I'm probably in the minority from what I've seen with him, and, you know, interview wise, and just, you know, him talking and stuff. I'm probably in the minority here, but I actually prefer him more than his movies, you know, like where some people will be like, yeah, man, I like Eli Roth's movies and stuff, but I can't fucking stand him. I mean,
he always seems super cool to me, honestly.
You know,
and just because somebody else has said that they heard somebody meet, you know, him and it was a bad experience. Hey, that was not me that he met.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I hear the same thing about Tom Savini. Alex Edwards met Tom Savini and it was awesome. The same day his friend met Tom Savini, Jerry, not Jerry Herring, but another guy. And he had a bad experience. So maybe, you know, nothing against Jerry, but maybe Tom Savini didn't like him. You know what I mean? Like celebrities are allowed to not like people for whatever reasons too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I you know, or maybe he just had a bad moment that time. But I'm never gonna think that somebody is a complete asshole until I meet them, I have an experience, or I see something firsthand. I do not judge people based on what other people have told me.
No, I
feel like there's
either.
so much bias there, and it's. And a lot of people do lie. Like, how many people have you went like to work, started with working, and you know, start a new job or something, and then these people talk mad smack on this person, but then you meet this person and they're cool.
Oh, fuck, it's happened to me a million times, man.
Yeah, so I kind of reserve my judgment. I'm not gonna say that he's a great guy, but I'm not gonna say he's a douchebag either. He seems cool from every experience I've seen first, you know, seeing him in interviews, in things like that. I've never seen him act like a jerk on camera. I've only heard other people say when they met him that he was a jerk or whatever, and I've only heard two people say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, going back to the Tom Savini thing, like when I met him, he was awesome. I even got him to talk about a film that he said that he didn't want to talk about. Like, he was pretty cool. He was really cool with me, man. And, you know, and in fact, like, I don't know if he was just having a good weekend or whatever, but everyone I talked to that had met Savini at Wasteland a couple years back had good experiences. Like, he was in good spirits, man. He had his grandson there and he was joking around, and he was honestly nice peeps, man. You know,
the only person I've heard universally hated is Linda Blair. That's the only person I've heard where literally every person I hear talk about him say that she's a douchebag.
Who I was talking to, oh shit, man, I was talking to someone one time and they actually saw this happen. It was fucking crazy. So there was a lineup to meet Linda Blair, and it basically said, like, you know, you're not allowed to snap pictures of her and blah 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 and shit like that. And anyways, of course somebody did, and she got her goon, like her fucking bodyguard, to go over
Wasn't
there.
Wasn't that like Beyond the Realms talking about that?
Yeah, I think it was actually Jason. And yeah, I think it was Jason who said that. And they fucking confiscated the phone, and the person got kicked out and shit. I'm like, that's some real crazy shit, man. It's just a fucking snapshot. Who cares? If you're standing in line, that means that you're going to be paying for something anyways. You're not standing in line to take free fucking snapshots of Linda Blair, right? They're there to get the picture or the something signed or whatever. Right, so why is she be making such a big fucking deal? To do that shit, man. Like, those types of stories kind of offend me, man. I'm like, that's brutal, man. That's just fucking that. You know, that's on a different level of douchey right there. But you know,
Linda fucking Blair.
Yeah. But yeah, she's definitely one of the most hated people out there. I've honestly heard from so many people. You know, I've never really heard anything good about her. And plus, she's outrageous with her prices. Like, what does she charge? Like $120 for a picture or an autograph or some shit? And like another 40 or 50
Oh,
films.
and
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Also, to comment on something Dave said, I don't think that Eli Roth being like a handsome dude is the only reason he's hated. Like, I just think that it adds to people's dislike of him. I know for a fact it does. Maybe not the majority of people, but I definitely believe that I've seen strong evidence pointing to that he looks like somebody who is not one of us, one of the horror film fans.
I can completely relate to it, man. I get hated on because I'm so beautiful all the time too.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And in terms of like Adam Green and who else did he say? Like I think that Adam Green is not a bad looking dude for sure, you know, but I don't think that he looks like Eli Roth. Like Eli Roth, granted he's older now and stuff, but like he was like, people were like, I remember seeing him on all these like hot top 10 lists and like magazine stands and shit, you know. It was different. You don't see Adam Green and that stuff.
Or Mike Flanagan either.
Yeah. You could tell Dave is like afraid to say some good looking dude because he's like they look like normal people.
The other thing with Adam,
nobody's gonna think you're gay, Dave. It's fine.
Yeah, the other thing with like he said with like Flanagan and Green is they didn't really have like an acting career either, because you know Green did like the Tarantino stint where he starred in a few Tarantino films in the middle of like direct. Oh yeah, Eli Roth.
Well, I mean, Green definitely has a bigger acting career than Eli, I would say. Like Green's in a whole TV show, and the whole Digging Up the Marrow is him.
Yeah, he plays himself.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's it for that voicemail. Thanks, Dave, for the clip. We appreciate it, buddy.
Nice.
No Jeremy though to answer the question.
That's good shit.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Have you checked the children?
What do we do?
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
Yeah, jumping into the dub portion of the show. That's usually when Jeremy would be like, "Oh, fucking lazy asshole."
Oh, I love the dub.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, where we go round tree, review some films, give some ratings, give some reviews, Yeah, okay. D Boogie, do you want to start us off?
Sure.
All right.
Well, since I was on a little satanic cult kick with prepping for episode 6, Cinema Attack, I decided to review one that wasn't part of our show. So this one's from 1971, and it's titled The Brotherhood of Satan. Yes, you can get this actually in this really nice like 3-pack from Mill Creek. It comes with Brotherhood of Satan, Torture Garden, and Creeping Flesh. And yeah, this one's directed by Bernard McEvery, who didn't really do a lot of films. He's very known for like doing a lot of TV work, including like TV shows. So this is like one of his only films, which is kind of sad because this is a really interesting one. Pretty much the main gist of this one, we're introduced our main character, Ben, who's with his girlfriend and his daughter, who his wife actually passed away, as we find out in the film. It's actually his new girlfriend who's with them. And they're traveling around, and they end up finding like this wreckage that like looks like craziness, like a crushed car with like body parts hanging out of it. So they end up going to the local town and where this is happening. And once they get there, all hell breaks loose. Like all the townspeople come and start ridiculing them and blaming them for, it's your fault that this is happening, and you killed my kid and took my kid. And they just get ransacked and run out of the town, but they end up breaking down and they have to end up going back to the town. And what they find out is through the local sheriff and the doctor is that pretty much what's been happening is children have been going missing and their parents have been brutally murdered in different ways and forms of fashion. So Ben and his family are at the gist of trying to help the sheriff and the local priest and the doctor try to solve what's going on with it. And as this is going on, actually, his daughter ends up becoming one of the missing, and that's when the plot thickens and the final conflict begins. Now, this is a very interesting film. It has a really interesting beginning sequence with the aspect of how the parents that they get killed with aspects of involving the children per se. I don't want to really give it away because it's something you have to really see to believe. You know what I mean with that aspect of it. And it's just a very interesting way to tell a film, and the performances are really good, especially actually the producer of this film, L.Q. Jones, plays the sheriff, who is very recognizable. I recognize him mostly from some non-horror stuff that he did. Like, he played the elder gaming commissioner in Casino, the Martin Scorsese film, and he's really good. But the real person who really steals this movie is character actor Strother Martin, of course, who was in some of my favorite movies. You guys probably know him for playing the Doctor in, the Snake movie. He plays the Doctor in that film. Yeah. He just fucking kills it in this role, and he just said the way that his character develops and the way that his character is in the film is fucking awesome. And just the aspect of what's going on with the satanic cult in this film and what's going on with their main scheme is really interesting, and you never really see it done in this type of film before. Which I always say about satanic cult films, even though I say this in actually the way that I describe satanic cult films, they all part of the same subgenre, but they all have different feels to them, and this one's no exception. Really awesome stuff, and this one has a really fucking awesome ending. So if you haven't seen the Brotherhood of Satan, I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of satanic cult ones, it's one of the better ones, I have to say. So I have to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's severely underrated, man. I don't know why that one doesn't get talked about more, but this Mill Creek Blu-ray is really cheap. Check it out. You get 2 other films too with that one. What we've got here is failure to communicate. He's famous for saying that line.
Yeah. Shore of the Mountain. Cool and Luke.
That's who said it. Yep. Cool shit, man. Cool shit. Yeah, it's hopefully more people get to see it. I mean, really, why wouldn't you pick up that 3-pack? It's dirt cheap. How's the transfer on it?
Really good. It's actually one of the Torture Garden is probably the most great dark transfer out of that one.
Yeah.
But the other 2 are really good from what I watched of them.
Nice. JP.
All right, so I decided to watch some 2017 films this week while putting off some Patreon films. Just kind of was in the mood for... As I was telling you guys that I was really in a slump with older films where I was just I just want to watch something new. I just got that craving. So I started with Kong Skull Island, which I picked up on Black Friday. It was one of the few pickups that I grabbed. $6 on Blu-ray. Was just really kind of interested in this one. It's always debated whether these films are considered horror or not. The kind of giant monster, more action-y type movies. But I will say, this one actually surprised me with the amount of gore and stuff in it. It's not overly gory or anything, but it definitely has some darkness to it. But it basically follows. It opens up in actually World War II, where you have a American pilot and a Japanese pilot fighting in close combat, and then we see the reveal of King Kong, and then it takes place, picks up 29 years later in 1973, with a couple of government agents who discovered this island known as Skull Island. And they want to get there first to see what's there before the Russians do. So they get escorted by some Vietnam War veteran pilot guy and a squad. And they basically land there. It's the island's covered by a storm, so they had a rough entry. And basically they're separated, and they quickly find out that this giant monkey ape thing lives there, and not only that, but tons of other weird creatures and giant monsters and stuff like that. And they're trying to get back home. You know what I mean? and they run into some natives there as well. So this movie, honestly, like, I really enjoyed it. Like, I thought I heard like a bunch of hate for this one when it was released in theaters. I was actually going to go see it, just never got around to it before it got pulled from theaters, or ran its course, whatever you want to say. But I actually thought this was a super fun movie, and I actually don't hate the Peter Jackson King Kong. I don't love it, but I don't hate it as much as some people do. I much have always preferred them on the island, even in the original King Kong, to when they get back to New York or wherever they are. And I was very happy to see that this one pretty much primarily takes place on Skull Island, which I think is awesome, because like that's the funnest part of the movies. And there's all these damn, like, there was this like giant like bug thing that was like, its legs were like camouflaged like bamboo, and it was like awesome as hell. Like, this guy gets impaled through the mouth and stuff. Another dude gets like ripped apart by some like pterodactyls, which was pretty cool. And there's like these, I guess like the main villain that Kong kind of fights is these like lizard things that live underground.
Skin crawlers.
Like, skin crawlers? I thought they called them skull something.
I forget it. Yeah, it's, John C. Reilly calls it. He's like
skull crawlers. Skull crawlers. That's it.
Yeah. I tried to think of the name at the time.
Cool. Dude, that was funny as hell. Like, he says they're called skull crawlers, and they're like, why do they call them that? And he's like, cuz you blob. Like, the dude, that's the guy from what, like Step Brothers or something, right? Yeah, dude, that guy is funny as hell. I don't watch a whole lot of comedies and stuff, but I like seeing that guy in movies. He's really good. And he was good in this one. There's like once they run into him, there's like a ton of comedy for like the next like 15-20 minutes, but it was like such well-timed, like good relief from like the action and stuff. It was pretty cool. Really like that. It kind of felt like a Jurassic Park type movie where they're like stuck on this place, and you know there's all these things that could kill them. I honestly did not care for the skull crawlers. Like, I thought they were kind of lame. They definitely are like a tough adversary for King Kong, but I just didn't like the design of them that much. I thought it was pretty basic. Weird looking. I thought it was basic and just like not that creative. Like, I've seen things that look kind of like that before. In you know, art and movies and stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't think they were overly. I think I've seen them in like video games even. They just didn't look that cool. But King Kong was really, really good looking. You know, like there's a lot of CGI and stuff in the movie, obviously. You know? Yeah. But it was pretty. It was all pretty good, and yeah, there was some things in the movie that like any of these like action adventure movies, like so convenient, like works out perfectly. If that didn't happen, then the whole movie would be over and blah blah. So like I always hate that stuff in these movies, but they're in every single one of them. So you just kind of got to accept it. Pretty solid effort. Like I was really into it, had a lot of fun with it, thought it was a blast, and it was like the perfect movie to kind of get me out of my like I just wanted like straight up like brain food, you know, like not really brain food, but like a popcorn movie, you know, just something mindless is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's not that much thought to it. It's not like, you know, it's just kind of cool to look at. And I thought it was pretty funny. I thought John Goodman's character was completely wasted.
Oh, 100% my thoughts, man. That was the first thing I said when I walked out of the cinema. I said to Dylan, I said, man, they really fucked up John Goodman's character, didn't they?
Like, when you have an actor of that caliber, man, yeah, you make room for him. You know what I mean? Like,
totally. Especially when you, like, in the beginning, he's like a major part of the story. You know what I mean?
That's what I didn't understand, why they took his character where they did.
Yeah, kind of weird on that.
I know, it's so fucked up.
And you know, besides that, there's like an after credits scene, which was really cool. Like I knew what it was already. I heard people talk about it. But I guess they're gonna set up like a shared universe type thing with these movies. Mm-hmm. I mean, there've always been a shared universe with King Kong and Godzilla and those things. You know, Godzilla has tons of characters and shit that's in all their movies. But is there another one announced
of Godzilla?
No. King Kong.
So. Well, it's gonna be Kong versus Godzilla after the next Godzilla.
Okay, so they're doing another Godzilla, and then Okay.
Yeah, Adam Wingard's directing Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Wow, wow. Adam Wingard has went skyrocketed in his career, but that's cool, man. I really am. I haven't seen. You know what? I own Godzilla, the one that they did recently. They put out a couple years ago, like 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And I own it on Blu-ray. I picked it up, oddly enough, on a Black Friday for like $6, and I've never watched it. So maybe I'll watch that now. Kind of see where. I probably assume that King Kong's a little bit better, but yeah, I'm coming in at an 8.5 out of 10 on Godzilla or Kong Skull Island. Really liked it.
I'm shocked that you liked it and actually rated it that high. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I actually liked it better at my second viewing because of just the crowd I was with. The theater experience wasn't good for me. If that makes any sense.
I've not had I've been to the theater more this year than I have in my entire life, and I have only had one bad experience, and it was during, I think, Friend Request, where the stupid bitch up in the front row kept looking at her phone, and it was like the brightness was on max, and she was in the front row.
Yeah,
fucking.
But yeah, like,
but
like when I rewatched it with my family, we rented it and stuff. I actually enjoyed it a lot better than my first experience with it. So I agree, it's a little fun popcorn movie.
That's what I kind of hope that happens with me too. Because first watch, man, I liked it, but I wasn't like in love with it. So I also picked it up on Black Friday. So I need to pop that in and give it a rewatch.
I typically like King Kong more than Godzilla. I know we have this debate all the time in the chat.
It seems like a weekly fucking thing now, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about the original King Kong versus the original Godzilla, but
to be fair, like, I know I give a lot of shit to Zach and shit, but I actually really like both films, and I rate them about the same. But I just prefer Godzilla. It's what I grew up with first. You know what I mean? So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, it's just that nostalgia factor's always there.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both great films, either or less. And we could have both of them in our lives, you know what I mean?
Yeah, classics.
I actually don't know, like, which one I honestly prefer.
The reason I prefer King Kong is because I honestly think that it's a more fun movie. Like, I like that there's other threats besides... I don't know, it seems like there's more happening than just, like, what happens in Godzilla. Like, there's a little bit more social commentary, and like, they both have social commentary, but I don't know, like, I think at the end of the day, I prefer like the Ray Harryhausen like stop motion effects to a guy in a suit,
which is actually kind of sad because that's what E.G. Superbriar actually wanted to do, but the studio wouldn't allow him to do it with the money that they had for the film, so they had to rely on the suitimation, which became his art in a sense because he went on to do more suitimation stuff because it's just a lot cheaper, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The word suitimation totally just sounds like a made up word.
No, it's really a word.
No, I know, it just sounds like it is. But I'll be honest though, man. When I watched the original King Kong, the effects still blow me away for the time that film was made.
Yeah.
They're really impressive even today. Like, I don't know if you guys have the King Kong Blu-ray. Like, I've got the fucking
I have the Digibook.
Yeah, the Digibook. But man, that transfer is ridiculously good. And like, the effects are they usually when you would watch a film like that with a transfer, you start to notice things, right? Nah, man, it really holds up. It actually holds up considering the film's almost 90 years old. So
I much rather prefer like modern Godzilla, like when they are not in the suit, like when it's actually like, I think that suit animation is pretty shitty, honestly, if I'm being honest. And I prefer the digital effects over the suit Godzillas. But that's just me. I'm not like into the kaiju stuff. I know that it has its lovers. Derek's one of them.
Yeah, no. Well, it's very influential too, even with the claymation, because without suitimation, you wouldn't have stop motion performances like Andy Serkis and Lord of the Rings, because you got to remember these are actors in suits that actually giving performances, And sometimes they're better than others. I'll agree. Like some Godzilla's performances are better than others in aspects of that. But there's a lot of like other kaiju movies, like War of the Gargantuans, where you see like the emotion because it's actually they have like human faces in that movie because it's not really like more like they're not like all like customized.
That was the movie last week. That was the. What's funny is that was the movie that Tarantino took Eli Roth to his house to show him War of the Gargantuans, like on his print or whatever. Remember I mentioned it last week? I couldn't remember what the movie was.
That's right.
It was that movie.
Yeah, it's one of his favorites. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Derek actually sent me a copy of that movie. Never watched it. Sorry.
Just being brutally honest, he's like,
I did watch The Fan though. Finally,
he totally put that in the pile of films he's never gonna watch.
No, I'll watch it.
Patreon supporters, listen to that.
Exactly, yeah. I'm just feeding them to him. Yeah, that's what Jeremy does all the time too.
But like I said, it's not like full pseudomation. Like they have like bodysuits on them, but they have like facial expressions too. So you look at that.
My biggest thing with pseudomation is if you look like a sponge, it takes me out of the movie. Like if you when you bend, it looks like rubbery or like a suit. You know, like that's when it's like it takes me out of the film a little bit.
I honestly like it, man. I think it's fun. It's silly.
Yeah, like Gilman's a suit, you know what I mean?
Gilman looks damn good in that suit though. He doesn't look spongy. In the first one. the second and third one, he doesn't look great.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Anyway, it's your turn, Mids.
Nice. All right, man. First up here from 1976, with a film called JD's Revenge. This one recently got released by Arrow Video. Yeah, I actually don't have a copy. They just, they sent me like the shitty ass screeners. But it's been so long, man, since I'd seen this film, I really didn't remember it. And so I was like, fuck it, man, I'm just going to pop it in, review it on here.
Is this horror at all?
It has horror elements to it for sure. I mean, it's basically a possession film / revenge. So, hence the title, right? JD's Revenge. But basically, it's about our main character, Isaac. He's out with his girlfriend one night, and they go to like a hypnotist, and he gets hypnotized, and ultimately gets possessed by this dead gangster from like the early 40s. And so now he's kind of going through these changes and shit. Like he's like a law student and stuff, and he's getting crazy headaches and shit. And he's just like he goes to the hospital to get checked out. And they're like, "No, man, you're just stressed out. It's from too much school and shit." So he's just kind of he's changing up and stuff. And so basically what happens is he gets possessed by this character JD Walker, and so he ultimately becomes that person, and he's out for revenge against the people that killed him and his sister. So, it's a very basic type film, but what really separates this film from like a lot of blaxploitation films is the possession angle to this. But man, I tell you, Glenn Turman's performance in this film as Isaac and JD is fucking phenomenal. He does such a great job with these two characters, man. Like just turning it off and on. Like when he's Isaac, he's this kind of very laid back type, smart type character and things like that. And then when he turns into this just menacing maniac in JD Walker, and it's just like a fucking light switch, man. His performance is to die for. It's so fun to watch. It's definitely a little bit light on the horror. I mean, I was expecting it to be, from what I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it, but I was kind of expecting it to be maybe a little bit more gory, maybe even have more deaths and stuff in that. I mean, the horror aspect of this is just the possession. That's really what it is. It plays out more or less like a blaxploitation film. It's got like the funky soundtrack and stuff like that. But, it's classified on IMDb as an action horror thriller. I wouldn't even say, I don't know why they would put action first here, because it's definitely not an action film. It's kind of a funny adaptation for this, to call it an action film, because it's definitely not. I mean, it's a possession film, but yeah, this movie is just balls to the wall, actually super funny, man. The one-liners, man, that when he's JD Walker, it's so fucking funny. I actually sent a clip one time in our chat room of this part where he after he just finishes fucking this chick. It's got to be the funniest shit I've ever seen, man. But yeah, chock full of one-liners, pretty great stuff. The revenge is pretty cool. But the interesting thing about this movie is that it doesn't play itself straightforward. It actually does have a little bit of twists and turns in the film, which I completely didn't remember. And I was like, damn, man, they actually tried to like, mix it up with some twists and turns and shit like that. I was like, that's pretty crazy. But all in all, man, super, super fun. If you're a fan of blaxploitation films, you're a fan of possession films, put them together, this is exactly what you're going to get with JD's Revenge. It's definitely worth it just for the performance of Glenn Turman, man. He absolutely fucking knocks this out of the park. I mean, something like this, you never get nominated, but he should have, man. He definitely should have got some type of notoriety for this performance. It's really good. And I have to say, Louis Gossett Jr. actually plays the Reverend in this film. He's one of the characters that actually JD's trying to get revenge upon. And he does a fucking awesome job as the Reverend in this film, too. Like, his performance is so over the top. It reminds you, like Nick Cage style, man. Like, he's playing this Reverend, and he's doing his speeches and shit, and he's like, oh, yeah, oh. And, he's just going fucking hardcore. Oh, man, it's so fucking good, man. Yeah, man, so surprisingly enough, really good performances in this film. All in all, pretty fun, I think it runs a little bit too long, to be honest. I think there's some sequences in this that probably could have been cut down a little bit. I felt like it just kind of dragged, and they just kind of extended a little bit too much. It runs 96 minutes. It probably could have been at least 10 minutes shorter, but that's, kind of a minor complaint with this one. But all in all, it's all about the entertainment value. Really good. It's, and, surprisingly decent film. I'm going to come in at about a 7.5 out of 10 on this one. It's fun as hell.
So that's your front runner for 1976.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
How many have you watched? Is this your first one?
No, I've watched probably maybe
300,
maybe 12, 13. Something. I'm in that range, but I've watched quite a few.
Oh, I've watched one.
You've only watched one?
The Omen.
Oh yeah, it was a fucking Patreon pick too. Yeah, yeah. Did you get a copy of JD's Revenge?
Yeah, it's actually that's actually the only screener that I haven't reviewed yet. That I have currently.
Yeah, you could check it out, man. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guess it's back to me, and since Moods doesn't have anything Italian this week, it's probably all Italian out. I decided to review an Italian film because this is one that I was watching for a few times since I got it in. And this one goes out to our very special friend Andy because I know he loves this film with a passion. It goes by the title of Zeder from 1983, also known from its awesome fake cover art, Revenge of the Dead. Now the thing about this movie, if you do want to pick this up, without going too much into it, don't expect the cover art to be this movie. I knew that going into it, and I had a lot of bitter experience with that, so this is definitely a film you don't judge by the cover art. Now, of course, this film is directed by Pupi Avati, who probably doesn't direct a lot of horror films. He has 3 to his title, and I only seen 2 of them. First, he directed House of Laughing Windows in the 70s, and he directed this one in the 80s, and in the 90s he directed Arcane Sorcerer, which I want to check out. That one's from 96. I hope it gets a release sometime. Sounds interesting enough.
Yeah, that was one of the films that I could not find when we were doing our 96 show. I know Brandon had mentioned it, and he's like, I think he said it was really good, but we couldn't find a copy of it or something. No,
he hadn't seen it either. None of us had.
Okay.
I tried every avenue that I knew and couldn't find a copy of it.
I actually know that there's this UK site that actually has bootlegs of it.
Yeah.
I tried every avenue except for UK bootleg sites.
I was just curious because after we had that little conversation about it. Yeah, but Zeder, Pupi Avati, who, and this one's very interesting. It stars Gabriel Lafia, who, if you guys know from 22 Shots review of Deep Red, he played Carlo in Deep Red. He plays a character named Stefano, who's a journalist and writer who's just got a brand new typewriter from his girlfriend, or actually it's his wife, I think, in the film. It's been a few days since I watched this one. And pretty much he's changing the ribbon of this new used typewriter, and he finds the old typewriter ribbon, and he looks up at it, and he starts reading it. And what's written on it is this essay that was written by the previous owner of this typewriter, and he gets it studied, and he finds out like part of this essay is written from the works of this scientist known as Paulo Zeder, who was studying like the strange occurrence of K-zones, which, as Zeder has said in his writings, that K-zones are like these sacred barriers where the terrain, if you bury somebody dead in it, you could bring them back from the dead. So Stefano ends up going on a journey and trying to find out if this is great, because he's like, oh, I could write my new book on this now. So he's starting to do like a little research on it and trying to find out the mystery of these Paulo Zeder and these K-zones. And it's pretty much like he's going down like this rabbit hole, and the further he gets into it, the more craziness it gets and the more danger for him and his loved ones. So, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the plot. Now, like I said, with like it being not like the cover art at all, this isn't like, if you're expecting like all-out zombie gore in this one, this isn't that type of film. This is more of like a, in a sense, like kind of like a giallo in a way, because of the aspect of him trying to find out what's going on. And there are deaths in the film, but they come from like the human people that are trying to like cover this up through the film, and the tension builds and builds and builds and builds. And the thing about this one is, if you're not into a fan of like slow burn films, this is definitely not the film for you. But if you are, then you'll have fun with it and be interested in the story, because the mystery of it and finding out what these K-zones are. And the very interesting thing about this is, without going little spoiler territory, but a lot of like the things that involve in like the plot of this is very similar in a way to Pet Sematary in a way. And the ironic thing is, this actually came out before Stephen King published that Pet Sematary, because they came out the same year. But this film was in production beforehand, before King released that story. So it's very interesting that they kind of share some aspects and like that plot that I'm not going to really give away, because they would pretty much give away.
So what you're saying is Stephen King is a plagiarist. You heard it here first, guys. Derek.
No, I didn't say it. Ernest Dickinson did it, because he's a huge fan of this film.
That's funny.
Because he's actually a huge fan of all Pupi Avati's work, and he actually did a little segment of this on Trailers from Hell when he's talking about this movie, which I recommend you guys watch. Really cool, like, the thing that he talks about Zeder. And yeah, like I said, it's like a very slow burn, and there's some characters and like subplots, which some of them drag, which is kind of the film's fault. But you just curious because of the scientific angle of this and the scientist things and the scheming and the backstabbing that happens, and especially like certain characters. Like there's this character that I actually, funny enough, nicknamed Terry in the group at one point, Fake Don Luigi. Because I was watching this movie and I was just nicknaming characters. Because he kind of reminded me of Terry in a way. It kind of looked like him.
It's awesome.
But the end of this movie is fucking awesome. And the thing that keeps you intrigued is the fucking musical score is fucking amazing, because it's done by Rez Ortolani. And the fucking main theme of this movie fucking kicks ass. Fucking very synth and very organic bass, and it's fucking awesome. So, yeah, I fucking love Zeder. If you're there for the ride, you'll really enjoy this one. So, what do I rate this film? I give it 8.5 out of 10. Highly enjoyed it.
So, what did Andy end up rating that film?
I think he gave it like a 3. Or 4.
A 3? Oh, shit. I thought you were serious when you said you liked it.
Well, like I said, if you know what type of film it is going in, because he was thinking of like the Revenge of the Dead cover art.
Yeah.
All right, my turn. The next film I'm talking about is a Patreon pick. This one from Mark Letham, and for some reason he picked. I don't know what his thought process was behind giving me this film, but it is Meatball Machine from the year 2005. I believe this is a Japanese film.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
All right. It said on Wikipedia that this is actually based on a film from 1999. The director, one of the co-directors, made another film in '99, and it's kind of based on this one, or this one's kind of based on that one. Anyway, it follows a factory worker who is kind of a lame dude, and he likes this girl, but he's kind of a lame dude. So he doesn't have the guts to tell her that he likes her.
Is this guy Jeremy?
I said lame dude, not completely pathetic dude.
Okay.
So he basically finds this thing. This movie's weird. He finds this thing. It's like a shell looking thing, and he takes it to his house and basically keeps it there, and then he stops that girl that he likes from being raped or something from another one of his coworkers, and brings her back to his house, and she talks about how like her dad used to like cut her or something. I don't know. And then that thing that he brought home basically like attacks her, and it like has all these like tentacle things and stuff, and it like grips her up and then sticks like a pointy tentacle up her vagina. We don't see that part, but it opens her legs and you see it like going up that way. So then she turns into this like thing. It's like a I think it would be like she's like it's a parasite that controls her, but she grows all this stuff on her. It's like kind of like biomechanical almost. And apparently these are like aliens and stuff. And then this other dude whose daughter had also been attacked by this stuff for some reason, which I don't know, infects the guy with it because he has one too or something. Do you guys know? You've seen this.
Yeah, it's been a while though. But what are they called? Necroborgs?
Necroborgs,
yeah.
Okay, so he, for some reason, this guy who doesn't like these things decides to create another one. For some reason, I honestly don't know. But anyway, the guy, the lead, the protagonist ends up getting infected with one. And I think these things are like destined to like want to kill each other or something like that, maybe. And he basically fights the girl that he likes to the death. And that's kind of the final act of the film. These movies are definitely not for me, man. Like, the plot's kind of retarded, honestly. And the reason why I don't like these movies, it's really funny because we talked about it earlier, is nothing looks real. We like when I was talking about like rubber suits and stuff, like everything, like the drill on one of them looks like plastic. You know what I mean? Like I can't take it in any way, shape, or form realistically. Like it's just like, it's like, okay, you're battling in plastic suits, like this is fucking Power Ranger level shit. Like it really is. Like this looks like it's pulled straight from Power Rangers. Now there is like some gore. I think most of it is not good. It's okay at best. And I guess if you like fight scenes that go on forever, you might like this. I don't necessarily think this movie's bad, because it's definitely like, you know, a type of movie that could be entertaining to a type of person like Moods. But to me, it's kind of like trying to separate yourself from your personal bias, which my personal bias is I don't like movies with rubber suited dudes. So if I kind of remove that a little bit, I don't necessarily think this movie is bad. It's 100% bad to me. But I'll come in at like a 5 out of 10.
Crazy. Yeah, I gotta rewatch it, man. I just remember it being fucking batshit insane, cyberpunky, you know.
So yeah, but it is kind of batshit insane. Like they're growing rockets and different things out of their body and stuff, but it all looks fake as fuck. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know how you get in the mindset where you like, because I assume that's what you have to do. You have to get in a mindset where it's not fake as fuck looking, or like, how do you enjoy seeing something that just looks super phony?
I just take it for what it is, man. I mean, I'm not looking for, I mean, when I'm going into a film like this that's going to be that ridiculous, I mean, it's totally outrageous. The whole storyline's outrageous and stuff. And I mean, I just take it for how it is. I mean, it looking kind of shitty at times is actually kind of part of the fun for me sometimes. I mean, I'll look at it, it just makes me laugh. I'm just like, that's fucking ridiculous, man. But
like, I take these movies as living like mangas, which are like Japanese comic books in a way. And I just take them as that face. They're like cartoony because they're trying to imitate like that style. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't know. These movies are like very just not my thing. Like, I think that they're like I've seen movies like, I'm trying to think of an example, but like something like Trauma or something. Like look at Poultrygeist, right? Like none of the effects actually look good in that movie, but I still love that movie for some reason. And I think that the comedy blends in well, while I don't think this film really like.
It might be just a style of comedy too, you know.
I think that when you have a gag, like you have like a bad looking effect and you're doing it for comedy, I think that it's, you know, it's all about timing and just, you know, like the bad effect being the joke. But it's just like, I don't get that vibe in these movies. Like I just get a vibe that it's like, cause it's kind of played serious in my opinion. Like it seemed like it's played serious, but just what they're wearing is, I guess I don't like, I honestly don't like the effect either. Like the tentacle, like cyberpunky, like
hentai,
like because it's a little too like if you toned it down a little bit, I think that it would come across less cheesy. It's just like the eye, like even the eye patches look shitty. Like you can make a good eye patch, like you don't need like I don't know. Man.
No chance of watching the sequel.
I heard that you said that there's a sequel from this year. These movies are 100% not for me.
No, I hear you. Yeah, it's understandable. I can see with like these type of ones, these aren't for everyone.
Yeah, these are definitely kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, so cool. All right. I didn't think that you were gonna like that movie when I saw it on the list.
I didn't hate it, to be honest. Like I watched it and I was like, okay, like I actually kind of liked where the setup a little bit. Like I thought that the thing like going inside her vagina was great. Here was another huge complaint I had of it. So the parasites that are controlling them are inside their bodies. Every goddamn 2 seconds it cuts to the inside of the body and those things wiggling around. I'm just like, you already showed us that. Quit showing it to us every 2 fucking seconds. That probably annoyed me more than anything in the movie.
Yeah. I get that.
But yeah, I mean, it like, I don't know, maybe I think that I would like stuff like, you know, I've seen like the like Machine Girl. Like I think I would like those a little bit better. This one just felt more sloppy to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man. So this is also a Patreon pick. I don't remember who picked this for me. I think it was Matt Janoski also. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. So from 1981, The Boogens. Man, I haven't watched this movie. I haven't watched this movie since I reviewed it on my 81 series on YouTube.
It was Matt.
Yeah.
It's the Boogens!
It's the Boogens. Yeah, man, this was... I remember when Olive announced this film, everyone was like, yeah, finally, fucking, you know, another... Or it was one of those films, I think it was on a lot of people's list to get a release. You know, it was kind of that title at the time. But, you know, it's... Okay, we'll get into it. Basically, it's about like these miner surveyors. They get hired on to take a look at this abandoned mine if it's worthy of reopening type thing. And of course, they end up kind of releasing these Boogens. They start blowing some shit up down there and stuff, and they release these creatures that have been actually trapped in there. See, with these Boogens, what they've done is they've created like tunnels like underneath the city and stuff. That's how they get around, and that's how they feed and eat and stuff. But this crazy ass guy, he's kind of like the crazy Ralph of the Boogens. He is responsible for actually keeping all these creatures in there. So of course they get released and they go on a fucking rampage. So we follow these like two guys, and then their girlfriends come up to Colorado to visit and stuff for some R&R, sex, blah blah blah. So now we got these Boogens that are, they're out on the loose and they're killing people and shit. This is one of those films, one of those creature feature films that it's enjoyable to watch, but you always want a little bit more. It's one of those films that you never get to see the creature until pretty much like the last 20 minutes. And when you see the creature, it kind of looks rubbery and a little bit shitty. But yeah, this one, it overall is still a pretty decent film. I love the locations they shot this in. You know, they shot it in Colorado. It's like got a wintry setting and then, you know, in the mine and things like that, which I don't think they shot in a real mine, actually. It doesn't really look like that at all. But it's all in all, it's actually a pretty fun film. And, you know, the way the characters actually die in this film too is a little bit surprising. You don't actually expect them to die in that order, which I do like. I actually kind of like that about this film. I think that's pretty ballsy, actually, you know, a little bit. But you know, it's one of those films. There's not really a whole lot to say about it because it's so basic. You know, we're following all these characters, and it takes a long time to kind of get going. It's not overly boring in the first hour of the film. It's just a lot of like kind of build up, and it keeps cutting back
character
to
development and stuff like that.
There's a lot of character development in this film. I mean, it's following the miners. They keep going back and forth into this mine, and then we're following these girls, and you know, one of the guys goes missing, and you know, blah 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 and stuff. So there's not really a whole lot happening until like the third act and stuff, and then we get some carnage, which is actually pretty cool. There is a scene where a dog gets killed, and it's just like, you had to kill the dog, didn't you? You had to do it. Right? But I don't even know how to describe what these monsters actually are, these creatures are. They're kind of like a hybrid of a turtle and I would say like maybe an octopus. They have like these long tentacles and shit, but they look like a fucking turtle. It's like they are literally some of the weirdest looking creatures ever for a creature feature, and they're just named the Boogens, you know.
It's the Boogens!
Right? But, you know, it's still a fun film. You know, it's been a few years since I've watched it. I had fun watching it again, but I just wish that you got to see a little bit more of the Boogens, you know, throughout the film, instead of, because they do like a lot of kind of POV style with the monsters and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of like a creature feature, but it feels like a slasher.
It does. Yeah, it's very POV slasher-esque kind of feel. But yeah, and then you never get to see them. And, you know, it's still a fun film. It's got a decent soundtrack to it. It's actually acted pretty well for what it is. You know, like I said, the locations and stuff. It's all in all a pretty well-made film. I just, you know, again, the creatures, man. When you get to see them, it's a little bit unsatisfying because they look so funny, a little bit rubbery and shit. But you know, it's still fun. I have no idea what I originally rated this film on my 81 series. Not even a fucking slight clue. But I'm going to come in about a 6.5 out of 10. It's still a fun watch, but yeah, man.
I think you gave it an 8.
Did I? Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely not as good as like I probably remembered it to be, you know. But it's still a fun film.
Yeah, I love the old dude in it because it's the fucking old dude from Creepshow.
Yeah, man, like the kind of
Bedelia, where's my cake?
He's like the Crazy Ralph character, man. He's just it's funny how they introduce this character too, because like we're following these miners and we got these young guys, and these girls and stuff, and then we got this fucking crazy dude who's just like lurking around. They never like fully introduce him because you don't really actually know who he is until like the end when he kind of explains. He's like, yeah, you guys went in there blowing some shit up. I had these things all trapped and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was the guy from Creepshow until he started talking, and he's like, it's the Boogens!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's the Boogens from 1981. Derek.
Okay, yeah, final film of the night. And, of course, I brought an Asian film to you guys. And I think you guys know this one very well. It's the only Asian film. I wanted to review an Asian film, and it's the only one I got to watch this week because I've seen it plenty of times. I wanted to revisit this one. And as Brandon or Jeremy would say, I wanted to get my Jew on. 2002, Jew on the Grudge. Yeah, like, we all know the story about the cursed house that made this curse happen with like this Ramage family that was brutally murdered, and father killed them all and committed suicide. That's no spoiler. It's been told like numerous times in podcasts and Dave Z, of course. But funny story about this film, without giving too much away about it. The first time I ever seen this film, I actually wasn't the biggest fan of it because I wasn't really into Asian horror the first time I seen this film. So this is actually kind of weird that this is actually the film that kind of got me into Asian horror. And I didn't really care for it, but I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I started to learn more about the film and stuff. And I figured out, like, this film is actually told in a non-linear sense, where it's not really like a linear story. It's like all over the place with its plot, especially with like the aspect of like it's kind of like did you ever see the movie 21 Grams?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in the aspect of like how that story is told. So yeah, if you not known like the non-linear style, this film might be kind of confusing for you. But interesting enough, there's a show that I listened to on this film where I actually finally figured out how this film was like told and stuff. The Hera Go Show, which is a Asian horror podcast on Legion, and they actually explained like the whole film in linear, which was kind of cool to hear because you never know which stories come first and stuff like that. So pretty much what I have to say with this film, it's a film that grew on me over years of rewatching it, and like it took me a while to really appreciate this film for what it was, because it takes from a lot of like different like J horror films that come before it, like especially like Quiet On with like its opening like scroll about telling you what the curse is. It's very reminiscent of like how Quiet On was telling its like anthology stories. Have you ever seen that film, Moods?
Which one?
Quiet On, the anthology from the 60s.
Oh yeah. Quiet On, yeah, it's totally awesome, man. I love that film.
Yeah, it kind of has like that similar like scroll where it's telling you about the curse.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it's very influential by that and other like J horror films, especially like Snake Woman's Curse and numerous other ones from that time period. And it's like all those films that I see in this one and the films that this one influenced also that really make it like a very emotional film. And this film's one to like, even like a few years ago I was saying it was overrated because I liked a lot of more Asian horror films for this, and it took me finally this year to really appreciate what it was. And it's a really phenomenal film, really great like way that they interact with like the Japanese subculture, especially the way that Kiyako and Toshio look, because they are pretty much reminiscent of like kabuki theater, especially with the white face. It's if you've never seen like a kabuki theater aspect, they represent death with white faces in kabuki theater, which they do in this film. Which
did they in kabuki theater? Did they have the flesh tone shining through the white paint?
Yeah, because there's actors playing the roles.
Oh, so it's not ghosts.
Of course.
I'm looking at a picture right now of the little ghost boy, and his ear is flesh toned on the inside, and the outside is white. That is bad. Just saying.
Well, they weren't done with the makeup. When that
then they shouldn't have shot the scene.
Okay. Yeah, no, because it's about theater aspects. It's reminiscence of the theater, so it has nothing to do with what the makeup looks like.
I'm talking about I was dissing the Ju-on film.
Of course you were. But I like to say that this film is fucking awesome. I do have one issue with it. Some of the editing is kind of overdone, like flash editing, which
I can't fucking shitty ass Saw editing, right?
It's not overdone. I think it works better in some aspects with like scenery and scenes like that. Like it works more in some scenes, and in some scenes I think it's overdone in. But other than that, highly enjoyable film. I have no real issues with it. 9.5 out of 10. Ju-on.
Why did you have to review that one? Yuck. So that actually would make the Hall of Fame. Begrudgingly. See what I did there? Begrudgingly.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe with... Because as soon as he brought it up, I was like, oh, bet this makes the Hall of Fame. 10 from Dave, plus 9.5 from 10 out of 10 Derek, plus 8... Damn it. Plus...
Dave gave it 10 out of 10?
8 point... This is number 1 of the year. Yeah, plus 8.5 from
I couldn't
Brandon.
remember.
Gets exactly 28 out of 30. So, welcome edition, the Ju-On film that's clearly not as good as these two fucks think it is, into the Hall of Fame. I'm salty.
Hey man, you're the one who allowed like the guest ratings to be in effect, you know, for the Hall of Fame and Hall of
Wait
Fame.
a minute. Wait a minute, actually. I believe that we said one of us have to be in the rating for it to count. One of the main 3 hosts.
Yeah. What? Who were the 3?
So it'd be Dave, Brandon, and Derek.
Yeah, that is true. That was
So
actually one of
it is up in the
stipulations.
air if this counts. We'll see. We'll debate it. What do you listeners think? We'll ask the listeners. Should a film be able to get into the Hall of Fame without at least one of the main hosts being part of that rating? Let us know.
All right. JP.
All right. So my film here is a pick of the week here. And once again, getting my 2017 on, I watched a film called Super Dark Times from 2017.
Oh.
And this film follows a couple of teenagers. I would probably say about like 14 or 15, probably. And they are kind of, and listen, I'm going to be super vague on this film because I think that it's very spoiler. Like it could really ruin your enjoyment of the movie if you kind of spoil things. But it's set in the 90s. It follows these group of younger kids. There's more than 3, but mainly 2 primary characters who are best friends, and they kind of hang out with a couple other kids, doing just kid stuff, man. Like, looking at yearbooks, talking about which girl you think's the hottest. They're playing PlayStation 1, or, going out and riding bikes, or standing outside of the girl's house you like and yelling penis real loud, regular shit. And something very unfortunate happens to this group of kids, and then it's basically a film about them dealing with it. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant. This movie, to me, is definitely a contender for the top 10 of the year. I loved pretty much everything about it. Like, I don't really have many complaints, if any, at all. I thought that the setting was great. I thought that the incorporation of now 2 films that I really like the dream sequences in this film, as I did with another film this year. I think that they did a great job of blending the subconscious with what you're worried about, with what happens to these people, the paranoia seeping into your dreams at night, which, anytime I have something really big on my mind, I dream about it. So it totally captured that feeling. It's a movie that does a fantastic job in creating its sort of era that it's in, the 90s. Like, it feels like the 90s. Like, even some of the music that is used in it is like straight from like bands and artists that are a little lesser known, like 90s songs. And it has a great scope to it. There's a lot of great shots of fields and sort of these kids wandering around, these like wide angle shots, and I thought the acting was phenomenal. The lead characters are so good. Like, the casting is amazing. The lead protagonist is great. His best friend is maybe even better. And then the girl, the love interest, is amazing as well. She has this dreamy girl next door vibe to her, but she's kind of a cool chick too. Like, she kind of is down to party a little bit and stuff like that. Totally reminded me of just growing up, man, being 15, 16, growing up and just kind of living, and then not not like me, but if something tragic happened to me, I feel like I would react like almost exactly the same way. I feel like that what happens to these kids is played so realistic to where it actually is, frightening, that I think that this is exactly how things could play out. And I think that this movie is one of the best of the year. I tweeted out that I seen, Get Out and It and Raw, and this movie made me, more uncomfortable, like more anxiety driven than those films. There's one other film that did it more, but and it was pretty cool. It got a ton of reactions actually on Twitter. The director and the female star and stuff retweeted and liked the tweet and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that they're listening out there. But yeah, I love this movie. I'm coming in at a solid 9 out of 10. It is available to watch, to rent on Amazon for like $6 or something like that. So definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. It's a cross between like Mean Creek, Stand By Me, and all those, even It and Stranger Things. It has that total vibe that everybody's been craving nowadays. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty opposite on a lot of things that you said, man. I wasn't the whole, like, the way everything kind of plays out, man. I wasn't feeling it whatsoever. I think the 90s is a really tough decade to set a film in because it's not that distinctive. Soundtrack wise, yeah, it definitely screams the 90s, but as like visually, I mean, it looks more 2000. I mean, it could be from that era too. I mean,
it's because of the things that they're doing, right?
Yeah,
like nobody in 2000s is going out riding bikes and cutting milk jugs with samurai swords. You know what I mean? They're texting and all that stuff.
Well, first of all, who the fuck has a sword anyways?
Me, I have a bunch.
Really?
I swear to God, I have about like 10 in the house, maybe.
That's just insane.
Yeah, my paps collects them. So
well, I mean, it's different, I guess, if you're a collector, but
well, I mean, he's given me them a few of them. So yeah, I mean, I think that I think you're right. Like the 90s doesn't have like a great visual sense, like the 80s, like the big hair, stuff like that. But I thought that like the games that they're playing and stuff, like the game that the kids playing is Twisted Metal. Like that was me. I was sitting there playing Twisted Metal, not going to school. Like that was me. You know what I mean? That's one of my favorite games. And the scrambled porn, like that's so of the 90s. You know what I mean? That's
I remember.
I used to do that shit all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't buy into the way everything played out as much as you did, I guess. It didn't seem that believable to me, man. I understand where some people are coming from with, what happens in the end of the film and stuff like that. But I mean, I was just like, what? It just seemed like...
I think you're kind of looking at it wrong. Like, I think what you're doing is you're looking at it as if somebody went insane or something like that, when that's not, in fact, what happened. It's just a loose cannon.
Yeah, I know exactly what happened, but I still wasn't buying into it. I'm just like, it seems so fucking drastic, right?
Not really. Like they set, like, and I'm trying to be very ambiguous.
Well, I think it's completely over the top. Like I couldn't imagine. I mean, I understand. Yeah, the stress from the situation that they've been put in can do real damaging, things to your mental health. For sure. I mean, because you're dealing with a lot. Stress is a motherfucker, right? You often do things that you probably wouldn't do when you're stressed out, or say things, and and this could very well be the result of being completely stressed out and of given the situation you've been put in. But I mean, to me, it's just like, holy fuck. I mean, there's still a reality there. There still is a reality.
It's very realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Look at like any incident that's happened in history with any young youths. I guess a young youth would be like a toddler or something. But any youths that have done anything, that is vile and disgusting or bad, right? Like, like so often you hear that like, they were kind of normal, maybe a little bit, off kilter things like that. But it's like never like this fantastical like fantasy world of like craziness and like I don't know. To me, it's like if you took like I don't know the Columbine kids or something and then put them in this situation beforehand, maybe like it's there's all types of people in the world and this what happens in this film is nowhere even I mean way worse stuff has happened that actually happened in life. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I gave it a 9 out of 10. I know you came in way lower.
I haven't seen it yet, so
yeah, I was like significantly lower than that. That's crazy. I gave like
I know a couple people that are even higher than me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean that's good. That's good that you saw it differently than I did, but I just was having a hard time.
I watched this at 2 a.m. and I was like, oh, let me just throw this on, like kind of lay down and relax. I was fucking wide-eyed by halfway through the movie, and I was just like sitting up like on the edge of my seat to see what happened next.
Pretty much did the opposite to me, man. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people would really dig the film, but for myself, I just it wasn't believable to me, man. I think that's the biggest problem with it.
Brandon is the jaded one, not you. So I expect more from you. But you and Brandon are both like the same on the year, though. So
yeah, I know it is interesting. Yeah,
you guys are kind of lining up with a lot of things.
Yeah, man. Okay. On that note, speaking of 2017. We finally got a brand new film from Joe Lynch, and it's called Mayhem.
Oh, you checked it out. Nice.
Yeah, man.
Hey, post on Letterboxd that you watched it and rate it, and he'll like your rating. I've noticed that.
Okay. Yeah, man, I was like super stoked. I was like, Joe Lynch is doing a film, and it's kind of like a Battle Royale meets Office Space type film. I mean, we've had another film like this year with the Belko Experiment, which is essentially more or less like Battle Royale meets Office Space type thing. But
yeah, and you know what? He mentioned this on the Movie Crypt because like where I am right now, like that Belko just came out, and this film was premiering at Fantastic Fest like the next day or something. Fuck. So like these were both in production at the same time. It was kind of an interesting story.
Yeah, but, this one is, in my opinion, way superior to the Belko Experiment.
Thank God. I was hoping, man, because I like the Belko Experiment. I thought it was like a decent, like fun, like popcorn movie. But like when people were, some of the ratings that I was hearing were crazy. I was like, you guys really like that movie that much? Yeah. And I was hoping that Mayhem would be like the better version of that.
It is, man. I like the setup a lot better in this one. I mean, the Belko Experiment is a little bit ambiguous, when it comes to pulling out exactly what was going down in that thing. With Mayhem, I think it's a really intelligent setup because basically we have our main character, his name is Derek Cho, played by Stephen Yeun, the guy from The Walking Dead, the Asian guy.
Oh, no shit.
Is our lead character in this film. But anyways, he plays a lawyer, and he works in like this big lawyer corporate building and stuff. And the short and long of it basically is he gets fucked over by another lawyer in there, and he essentially gets fired from his job, right? And so now he's like insanely fucking pissed off at like everybody because he's like, I didn't fuck this up, you did. I took all the rap for it, and now I'm out of a fucking job. So meanwhile, while this is happening, there's some type of weird kind of virus, like airborne virus that kind of seeps into this building, and what it does, it attacks your brain. And it makes you kind of go essentially insane. It makes you kind of act upon all your built up, aggression that you have inside your body. And, you don't turn into a zombie or anything. It makes you go fucking batshit crazy and actually start taking it out on people and shit like that. So I like the setup. We've got, this guy just got fucked over in his job, and now he's got a reason to get some revenge against the shitty ass boss and shitty ass coworkers and stuff. So that's the setup to the film. Yes, it is, a contained horror film. It takes place all in a building. It's kind of got that Battle Royale type feel to it, but it's not like that. It's not it's not a battle to the death type thing. It's more or less people just, taking out their aggressions on their fellow employees and shit. And I think this is brilliant because in that lawyer corporate world, there's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of that type of built up shit that just happens every day to these type of people, right? So I love the setup is fucking brilliant to me, man. Having this to do with lawyers and shit is awesome. But yeah, man, the performances are fucking excellent in this film. Everybody does such a good job, man. Derek Cho knocks it out the fucking park in this. He just absolutely knocks it out the park. Samara Weaving, man, she plays this character, Melanie. She's kind of like his sidekick, you know. There's a really cool bond between these two characters because he kind of essentially fucked her over a little bit, who then they kind of reconcile and they kind of work together and stuff. The boss is played by Stephen Brand, who does a great fucking job. He's such an asshole lunatic. There's a great fucking scene in this film where where he's talking to this corporation on the kind of like a Skype phone, and he all of a sudden just kind of ducks down, you know, he goes off camera for a little bit and he does this huge line of blow and it just completely made me fucking laugh. It's so funny. But yeah, this is a pretty high octane film, man. There's a lot of like, you know, violent aggression that's showcased in this one. But you know what's so awesome about these type of contained films that can separate the good and the bad is I find when a movie like this has really shitty dialogue, it can really bog down the film. Joe Lynch fucking wrote some amazing dialogue. He didn't make this thing silly and campy. It's really dark humor. It's not as silly as I was expecting to be. I mean, considering I've been, you know, watching Holliston, I was kind of thinking maybe the comedy was going to be on that Holliston type level, you know, a little bit sillier, just more straight up comedy. But this is it plays on the dark edge of reality, and so I like that angle that Joe Lynch took with it. But the you know, there's actually a part in this film where Derek, you know, he turns to the girl and he goes, you know, top 5 artists or favorite bands, you know, kind of thing, right? I just love that type of shit, man. It comes out of nowhere and they start talking about it and shit. But yeah, the dialogue is fucking phenomenal in this film. Really, really good stuff. And it's got a great ending too. It's got a fantastic ending. Totally didn't let me down. I thought it was awesome. One other actually interesting aspect of this is that when, you know, when they quarantine this building and they give them basically 8 hours. They're like, okay, so this virus is going to come in. It's going to, you know, take your body, or, you know, it's going to infect you for about 8 hours and it's probably clear out kind of thing. So basically this whole film basically takes place in like this 8-hour type period. And I like that too, because it has kind of this countdown and shit like that. And, but yeah, really fucking awesome film, man. I think there's just so much mayhem, so much awesome shit. For lack of a better term, there is a lot of mayhem, and this is pretty cool. But awesome setup. Mad props to Joe Lynch for doing this film. It's so superior to the Belko Experiment. If you want a good office-contained horror film this year, check out this one. JP, I think you'll actually really appreciate this one. It's because I remember when you first said you're like, oh, it's, you know, it's kind of a comedy that sucks, you know, that sucks, but it's like a really dark comedy. And it's not silly and over the top, so it actually does work on all levels. I mean, there's a lot of really great dialogue in this film that just, you know, it's corporate stuff and everything that they're saying and, you know, the situations that are brought out from that dialogue, it just completely makes sense. It actually completely makes sense for all these characters and stuff like that. So that I really enjoyed that, man. I was, you know, paying a lot of attention to that, to the fine details, but
I'm glad to see Joe Lynch like working more consistently, because if you remember, it was 2007 when he made his debut with Wrong Turn 2, and then he didn't do anything else until 2011 with his Chillerama segment, and then Nights of Badassdom was like a complete like fail, and then he did Everly like right after that, and then Mayhem just a couple years later after that, and I think he's in pre-production on his next film, which is called Taste, I believe. So I'm glad, and from what it sounds like is he's definitely progressing as a filmmaker too.
Yeah, man. I mean, he actually didn't, you know, write the script for this, but I mean, you can tell he probably had a little bit of influence, especially with some of that dialogue. It just seems so Joe Lynch, you know, to have in there. I think it was fucking awesome. But yeah, this one it's a fun movie, man, and it rips by too, man. You know, it's just under 90 minutes, but it's just like no downtime in it, which is really good. And Joe Lynch himself actually has a great cameo in this film too. He plays like the computer tech in this, and it's just a phenomenal cameo scene too. He's awesome in it. It's so funny. and witty and shit like that. And what they do to this one boss is just fucking, it's totally awesome stuff. But yeah, Mayhem, man, I'm coming in at about a 9 out of 10 on this one. I fucking loved it. It was excellent. Really, really good film.
Wow.
It surprised the shit out of me, actually. It actually surprised the shit out of me at how much I liked it. Because I was like, you know, coming off the Belko experiment, I'm like, really, another film with like pretty much the same premise type thing? So I just went into it, you know, kind of blind and cold, and fuck, really liked it, man.
Nice.
So that's gonna be
check that out.
Yeah, it's pick of the week, man. Mayhem.
Yeah, I'll definitely. You know, my top 10 is getting pretty. If I like, I don't know, man. Hopefully, I like this one, but
I think
my top 10 is pretty competitive right now.
Yeah, I think you'll like this film.
All right, cool.
So yeah, that is what we watched. Yeah,
nice.
22 shots.
Oh yeah, time for some featured reviews, courtesy of the man who is guest hosting on the show tonight, Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this was actually a Patreon trilogy pick for you. I don't think we had actually meant to have you on the show right from the start, right?
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, yeah, the Patreon pick, and you end up being on the show. That's pretty damn cool. So, of course,
so it's like,
yeah, man, it actually worked out great. So, but yeah, of course, director spotlight for Jean Rollin. Yes,
which is one that you've been dying to do for a while.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Of course, you know, Jeremy being the big French film fan, you know, this was probably like the least thing he wanted to do. And I'm just like, but they're French films though, man. You know?
That is funny. I didn't realize that I don't know if I knew that these were French until I started watching them. I mean, you guys might have said something, but yeah, that is funny actually.
I know. I thought it was intriguing that he was like, I don't want to fucking do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, but they're French, man. But yeah, man, Jean Rollin, who passed, when did Jean Rollin pass away? In 2010?
Actually, ironically, his anniversary for his death is coming next week on Friday, the 15th.
Actually, it is, man. Friday the 15th. He passed away at the young age of 72. It's crazy. The young age of 72. But Jean Rollin, yeah, man, he was a pretty intriguing, you know, director, actually. He was I would say more or less more of a visual type director. Would you agree with that?
I would, yes.
He was definitely like, I mean, I would even put him into an area almost like almost like art house in a sense, you know, like, yeah. I mean,
some of his like films are very art housey,
and he's this guy, very visual art house, and I think Jean Rollin makes some of the quietest films. Like, he's not one of those guys that overpowers his films with scores and things like that. He relies on, like, you know, the visuals and the ambient sounds and stuff. He's an interesting director, man. And that's what I think that's why I'm kind of drawn to his films, because I like that style. It feels different to me when you watch his movies. You know, it's not the same old thing. And I think that's why he sticks out to me, because when you watch, like, I was the very first thing I noticed when I first got introduced to Jean Rollin films. I started watching them and going, man, he's a really quiet director. It's interesting. So, but yeah.
So, question: why did you pick these three films? Because I see he has quite an extensive filmography, 52 credits. Any reason behind these three specific films, Derek?
I know Moods is a big fan of these films, and I knew he wanted to talk about these.
I think, yeah. Well, we were discussing it, and I think these three films were a decent trio because they're three of different films. I mean, The Iron Rose, which is going to be the first up here from 1973, was Jean Rollin's very first non-vampire film, right? His first, like, 4 or 5 films were all vampire-based type films. So this one is obviously not a vampire film. And then, of course, Lips of Blood deals with vampirism, and then Grapes of Death is more of like a kind of like an infection type film. So I mean, they essentially they were all different,
Yeah, like a mixture of different things.
Yeah.
Instead of watching like 3 vampire films, you know what I mean?
Especially like, his early ones too, because they're, to review all 3, 3 of his early vampire films would be very similar reviews, essentially. So, but yeah, anyways, 1973, The Iron Rose, quick little synopsis here. A young couple out for a walk decide, which is not true. They were not out for a walk. They actually were on a bike ride. So a young couple who was out on a bike ride decide to take a stroll through a large cemetery. As darkness begins to fall, they realize they can't find their way out, and soon their fears begin to overtake them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, The Iron Rose, very, very simple setup to a film, basically about a couple that meets at a dinner.
Wedding.
Yeah,
I think it's a wedding.
Yeah, I think
it was like a wedding.
Yeah, at the dinner party, and in like a very odd scene too. I always thought this scene was so strange where our lead character, he just kind of stands up and just like starts reciting this poem to this girl across the room. Like, who does? I mean, that takes a lot of fucking balls just to do that in front of everybody. I mean, she could basically kind of laugh at you or whatever. But yeah, this is essentially how he picks her up, and then they go on this date like right after. It's I mean,
take a date at the train ride and they go on a little bike ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the interesting do the characters actually have names in this film?
Actually, we do find out the girl's name, but it's at the very end.
Do we find out what it is? Oh yeah,
Karina.
That's right. We do. That's right. Okay.
It says on IMDb the cast. It's the girl, the boy, lady at the cemetery, and the clown.
Yeah, it actually does that. I scroll down, the girl and the boy. that's funny. But yeah, no, I mean, going back to Jean Rollin and being a very visual filmmaker, I mean, this is a great example of a film that really just relies on its setting and its visuals, and it's. I mean, basically what he was going for. The Iron Rose is actually based on a short story. I can't remember who the short story is written by, but it was based on a short story. So
I was gonna say, like, watching this movie, I thought that this is a movie that could have been like a Masters of Horror episode or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of interesting that he stretched it out into like a 80-minute film. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's even longer than that, but because it's a very simplistic film. Like, it's two people walking around in a cemetery.
It is a very it's a very simplistic idea, but it does have a lot of substance to it. I mean, there's a lot of kind of underlying messages and things, and I mean, it's essentially it's questioning these people's beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially what it is. It's a very nihilistic film. Our lead character, the boy, like he doesn't want to believe in like, eternal life and, anything to do with death and things like that. And that's essentially what the characters are kind of put to the test in this film. It's just, the movie's a huge metaphor for like eternal life,
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that approach. It's very simple, but it's very prevalent in it, because even though there's not a whole lot of dialogue in this film, which is another prevalent thing in Jean Rollin films, there's not like an abundance of dialogue. I don't know if you guys noticed in these 3 films, rewatching them. Well, for us anyways, or you, JP, but like, there's not a ton of dialogue in the films, but you do get the gist of what they're trying to portray here with the, with the metaphor for the eternal life.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that there was very low amounts of actually spoken dialogue in the film. I especially noticed that when it's a subtitled film, because I realized that I'm not reading so much.
And I will say, man, I'll give all the props in the world to Redemption, the Kino line that put out these films. They did a good job with the subtitles too, man. They, like when you watch some subtitled films, the subtitles, like, they just move too quickly. They take them off the screen too fast.
Yeah.
Or they're a little bit off-centered. Things are just kind of, you can just tell that something's not right. These ones are really well done on all these films. Kino knocked it out of the park with that, which is always nice when you're watching these. But, go figure, they've knocked it out of the park for a film that doesn't really have a lot of dialogue to start with.
Which helps too, because like when you do have like lines of dialogue, you have them there so you can read them. They don't go away right away.
Yeah, Yeah, it's nice. But yeah, what's your guys' thoughts on this film, man? JP, first time watch for you.
Yeah, all three of these first time watches. Actually, two of them are available on Shudder if you guys want to check them out. The Iron Rose as well as Lips of Blood are on Shudder. The third film, which is the second one we'll be covering, Grapes of Death, not on Shudder, except for that it says that it's on Shudder, except for it's not on Shudder.
It lied to you.
Yeah. And
that's random.
I actually had to, that one cost $6 to rent, so if you want to do that. You also, the redemptions are like between $15 and $20, I believe. So the Iron Rose, question right away.
Yeah.
Why are they not leaving the cemetery?
Because they can't find their way out.
So it's a massive cemetery, so they travel ways and go up the hill and stuff, and then they
come to like so many fences.
But it's not the main gate fences. It's because it's a huge cemetery. This is Amiens Cemetery in France, where actually Jules Verne's is buried. I know the cemetery very well because I used to study Jules Verne, and he was rest in praise. It's huge. Yeah. It's massive. It's like cemeteries at the cemeteries. It's like different cemeteries inside of one giant cemetery.
But they also allude to the fact that they not only get lost in the cemetery, but the cemetery is kind of holding them in there too.
So I was going to ask if it is supernatural at all. Like, that's kind of what I was thinking that it might have been because, like, I don't know. I think that if it is supernatural, it kind of fixes itself. But if it's not, then it kind of, I think Jean Rollin could have did a better job of, like, displaying scope. Because, a lot of the times when I was watching it, I was like, look, it looks like there's the fence to the outside right there. Why don't they just climb over it? You know what I mean?
Well, no, there is moments in the film where they're coming to different fences. It's kind of like separated, like there's like different crypt areas and stuff. And they actually do showcase the one scene where the male, he jumps over the fence and then he's kind of like behind her again and stuff. So maybe there is like a little bit of a supernatural thing happening there, which is putting them to the test with, it's questioning their morals and just everything to do with eternal life and stuff. Like, so it's making them make choices.
Now, what do you mean by eternal life? Like, are you talking about like heaven?
Yeah, well, just death in general. Like, I don't think that he believes that there's anything past death.
Well, yeah, he says that specifically in the film. I believe he's like, you just rot on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So he's basically saying, so when you die, that's the end of you and stuff. But I mean, if you're a believer, where I think that's what it's implying is that it actually there is eternal life, and it's making them question it, by holding them there and stuff. So.
And it's not like they didn't try to hop fences, because there's one scene where they think they find the fence and they jump it in and it leads to another cemetery.
Exactly. It's like a totally different crypt area.
I probably missed that.
Yeah, they end up in like a different kind of crypt area. And the key actually even freaks out too. He's like, "What the fuck?" And he like starts screaming and shit. So,
I know that the main reason these guys are stuck in here is because they decide to like get nasty in the crypt below. Who does that?
Which is like so morbid in itself. I don't know what's worse, the fact that that they actually went into the crypt, but they're like fucking in there too.
Yeah, that's really
just the idea of going into an underground crypt thing. I mean, I don't know why you would ever subject yourself to that. It just seems so morally wrong.
I think when the crazy weird bishop character came on, I was like, maybe this is a good idea. Who was actually played by Jean Rollin. He was that crazy guy
that's right.
Guy that was staring him down.
So, besides that, another question I had was, what's up with them like making out or whatever in like that grave with all the skeletons?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I guess when you're in a cemetery, the only places you could really do that, I guess, would be.
But like, weren't they like I don't know. It just didn't seem like that's something that girl would be down for.
Well, I mean, the thing,
her whole thing changes throughout the film. Like at the beginning of the film, she's very hesitant about death and stuff, especially when she gets into the cemetery, and she was scared to go into the crypt too. But then, as the film progresses, she's getting more involved with death.
Yeah, so she's completely down for it. Exactly. Yeah, because you actually see her character change throughout the film. She goes from that very kind of naive character to like someone that's okay. I can deal with this thing, But what's
what's the reason for her choice that she makes with the guy?
I think it's because she. I mean, are we getting into spoilers here?
Can you do it without spoiling, or do you have to?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
This is kind of a toughy one, you know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how I could word it, but I mean, essentially, I think maybe. I mean, she's testing what now she believes to be, you know, that there actually is eternal life and stuff, and maybe she's using him as a test. So that's why she does it. You know, I mean, it would make perfect sense, right? Because, you know, someone that generally was not really a believer or whatever to actually test this now, given the opportunity to actually do it. I mean, that would make a little bit of sense. That's how I interpret it anyways. I don't know about you guys. What do you think about it, Derek?
I mean, me personally, the only thing I just assume she's going crazy. Like, that's kind of what I was.
It could be a mixture of both, because you can see her character changing and stuff throughout the film.
Yeah.
And like I said before and stuff, she's just getting more down what she actually ends up believing with, like, the eternal life and stuff.
Yeah.
So it finally makes that final decision to test it and stuff, like, without going
Do you
too
think
crazy.
that? Do you think that it's believable that she would do that?
Well, I mean, if you look at it from this standpoint, it's not like she's emotionally attached to this guy. I mean, she theoretically just met him. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's a first time date, yeah.
So I think that she's not actually emotionally attached to him. I mean, we don't know her history, if she actually is a little bit crazy or anything. But we do know that she's not emotionally attached to this guy. So it would make more sense that she would actually go through with doing something like that, considering she's not, like, you know, in love with the dude.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, like the film that we talked about earlier, Super Dark Times.
Yeah.
So, so that was unbelievable, but this is believable.
Why not? I mean, yeah. I mean,
because like like my thing is like why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? Like, why would you?
It's because she's been overcame. I mean, I mean, once they're trapped in the cemetery, it's almost like a force has taken over and it's testing them, right?
Okay, so supernatural. Okay, if it is supernatural, I could buy it. You know what I mean? Because like that's what I was kind of either thinking like she went mad, which in case like if she did, I don't think it was like set up super well to kind of dictate that. But if it is supernatural and like there's some kind of force guiding her, some kind of curse or spell or something, then okay, I could buy that.
I think it is, man. I think it is a little bit of like a force. I mean, when you have two very nihilistic type people put into a situation, and that's the whole point of it, right? Is to test these people, so things are going to change, and I think so. I think that's what it is. So it makes kind of sense.
I really like the setting to this film. Honestly, like I was like, okay, this is like. I didn't know that the whole movie was going to take place in this cemetery, but once we got kind of far into it, and I was like, oh, I think this is like the only set. Like, I think this is where it's going to end. Like, I was like, oh, this is really neat. It's like kind of like, it kept reminding me of like something that you would see in like a anthology TV series or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is like, this would be like one of my favorite episodes. Like, cause it's just like set in a cemetery. It's like kind of dark and like almost like gothic-y, like, and it just was like a really cool setting. And honestly, like I didn't get bored with people just walking around in a cemetery, because that's pretty much what happens for the most part in this movie. Is it's like there's this very little dialogue. It's just like people walking around in a creepy ass cemetery. And I was kind of down with that.
I know it's a very quiet atmospheric, very like, quiet atmospheric. Yeah.
Just the way Roland does the imagery is just amazing with the atmosphere, and just the scope of the cemetery is just amazing, because you're just looking behind it and stuff and seeing like numerous like graves and headstones, and the imagery of like the characters interacting with the headstones and stuff too is really cool.
Yeah, it almost made me think like, oh, like why couldn't like this, like why didn't I think of just making a movie where two people get stuck in a cemetery? Like kind of writes itself. Like it's kind of creepy. It's cool. It's like the atmosphere is thick. I really like the setup to this one.
I like the time of year that they filmed this too. Like it has this very, you know, dark atmospheric feel to it, but it's like really, it almost seems like it's in the fall time, maybe, because there's fucking leaves everywhere. Like, that cemetery is not groomed.
Yeah, you can
at all.
feel like it's probably pretty cool, like windblown and stuff.
It adds to it, though. I like how it's not groomed. It really makes it feel like it's so old and ancient. I think they capture that beautifully, man. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, and just like the whole scene where she's like they enter that I think they said it was like the morgue attendant's house.
Yeah,
and they see like those coffins and all the skulls. The skulls all look fucking great in this movie. They look all old and grungy.
They actually look real.
Yeah, exactly. They look fucking awesome.
Like the one that she picks up and he smacks out of her hand and it breaks on the ground. Like, that thing actually looked real.
Yeah,
I'm starting to question it might have actually been a real fucking skull.
I mean, they did do that a lot of times it
would make
the
sense.
70s and 80s.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and just like the whole thing with the Iron Rose and the imagery is just.
So what's the Iron Rose mean?
The Iron Rose is.
This is the only title out of these films that I didn't know what the title meant.
Well, it's just the imagery. The Iron Rose is supposed to be like a sign of death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which the whole like goal, the basis of the metaphor of the film is about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of giving you a visual to the metaphor. Yeah. But yeah, so one thing you really notice in Jean Rollin films, which I guess they probably shown a couple. I think in Lips of Death or Lips of Blood, where he shoots on that beach somewhere in France. I mean, the pier and the little wooden things sticking out of it. Like, what are those called? I can't think of the actual term for those. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure too. But if you watch like pretty much all of his films leading up to,
are they like tie off boats or something?
I think so. I think that's what those. I think like a little wreath thing to tie your boat on.
But he loved to shoot at that pier or wherever that was, man, in that area, because he shot so many scenes for all his films at that same location, and it's kind of like it's cool, man, to see it because you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Actually, now that you think about it, Rape of the Vampire actually had that beach too.
Yeah, I think there's a couple more too, man.
Yeah,
to
be
honest, yeah, it's pretty cool. Kind of has this like. I don't know. It's just like a familiar thing to all of his films. It's like he probably obviously did it purposely, right? You know.
Yeah,
but
it's like his little like stamp on the movie.
It is, man. Which is kind of intriguing because in this film, like, it ends up being she ends up being on the beach there and stuff, and which I love Jean Rollin, man. Like, it's so artsy just to have a chick fucking stark naked on the beach, just doing whatever. At the end of the
doing
film.
her thing.
I know, right? It's like, she's got to be naked, man. She's got to be naked. I mean, that's a very prevalent thing in his films, though, too, man. Is just the nudity. I mean, these are French films too, so it's not like we perceive that a lot differently, but to them, that's like completely normal.
Yeah, it's like their art and stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that you said about this being a quiet film, though, without going too into it, I love the theme of this movie. Like the music in the beginning, it's very hypnotic. Mm-hmm. It sets the tone of what's to come.
Yeah, it does. It actually does. It's kind of like it's really actually strange musical pieces too. Like, I don't even know how to classify it. It's really kind of oddball.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually even in Grapes of Death, like, there's a little bit of a score in that film too that's very odd. Like, the music that's used in it is very, very strange. Very
I
noticed that one in that. Yeah, I don't like that music in that one that much.
I know it's kind of weird actually. It's so prevalent too because like it's
almost like comical.
Yeah, the movie's so quiet, and then when you hear it, you're like, "What the fuck is that? Like, why is that there like that?"
You like think it's something else in the house.
I know it's so strange. But yeah, so
yeah.
Did you have any more questions, JP, about the film, or do you have any more thoughts on it? Or it's kind of a tough one to talk about because it's very simple, I guess, without giving like every single scene away and shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we can probably just get into ratings.
All right, I'll go first. I actually really liked this film. It was pretty cool. I don't think that I fully grasped like the concept that much, but I did like the setting, and I thought that like the overall like eeriness that shined through on the film was worth the watch. just visually pretty nice, pretty cool. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Derek.
Yeah, The Iron Rose. This is a film that I've been watching for a while now, and I absolutely love the metaphor and the visuals of this one. Fucking awesomeness with like the visuals and the atmosphere. I really like the characters, and we forgot to mention the performances are really good. Like Françoise Pascal was actually not Jean Rollin's original choice for this role, and I think she does a tremendous job in the role. Especially, she actually even choreographed her own dance for that sequence that she dances through the graveyard, which you didn't mention, which was really cool. And I really like Hugh Quester, who actually I've seen in numerous other French films after this, like non-horror-ish type stuff, but I've seen him before in like older Hugh Quester. But yeah, it's a hypnotic experience, which I think everyone should check out, and definitely recommendable. I really have no issues with this one. I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Jesus
10 out of 10, Derek. Yeah, man. I think this one actually runs its course pretty well. I mean, for being such a simple idea for a film, I think Jean Rollin actually paces out this film surprisingly well. You know, I mean, there's like almost no characters in this film except for like 2. You know, it's a tough thing to do to keep you intrigued and stuff, but I think the visuals and just the metaphor for the film, I think it's pretty easy to understand. I mean, but there's enough there. I think
you're saying I'm dumb.
No.
No, it's your first time watch.
But
you never know. You might pick up more later on. That's all.
I can't remember if I fully grasped it the first time I watched it either.
Yeah, me neither, man. It took me a few times when I watched this one.
Yeah, but I mean, now it seems so out in the open when I watch it. It's like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, man, I love everything about this film. I love what it stands for. The cemetery setting. I don't know why it's not utilized more in horror films. Like, why isn't there more films like this? It's really crazy because it's such a basic idea. Like we said, you know, you would think.
Yeah, there was an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark where these kids were playing hide and seek in the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that episode. It's been forever since I've seen it, but that's like the only thing I can think of.
I know, it's weird, right? You think that there would be so many more films set in the cemetery, considering it's
De La Morte de la Mar.
Yeah, that's one.
That's one, Cemetery Man, of course. Yeah, obviously, right? Which is probably, that movie's fucking just phenomenal. But, yeah, man, I love this film too, man. Not really a whole lot more to say about it, but I'm coming in at a 9 out of 10 on this one.
Oh. Nice.
All right.
Yeah, I really love this one.
42 shots.
So, Lips of Blood came out in the year 1975. We have director Jean Rollin. The writer was Jean Philippe, and it follows Frederick, who sees a photograph of a ruined seaside castle, which triggers strange childhood memories. He then goes on a strange quest, aided by 4 female vampires, to find the castle and the beautiful woman who lives in it. So yeah, there's this kid that when he's a kid, he meets this like weird woman in the middle of the night, like in this castle, and then he like leaves, and he always, I guess, remembered that. And when he saw this photo, it reminded him of it. So he was on a quest to figure out where this castle is. And then there's some vampires.
Yeah, that's right. Because, you know, as a child, like he questions. He's like, why can't I remember my childhood and stuff? And it's because essentially, like, he was kind of under a spell from this vampire and stuff. So he just, for some odd reason, couldn't remember anything.
Let me ask you guys a question. So, I was a little confused with this one too. So, this woman is basically forced to stay at this castle. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, okay. Essentially. Yeah.
So this kid, like, you know, doesn't really matter why he's out in the middle of the night. It's questionable, but whatever. He's out in the middle of the night. He happens upon it, and she brings him into it. But then, why does she let him out of it?
Well, she actually. Well, it actually goes into the ending, so I can't really.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say the same thing because she's more or less kind of projecting herself.
Oh, okay. So she does mention that she learned how to spiritually project herself or whatever, but
yeah.
Because that's not actually her.
She was essentially just, when she was imprisoned, I guess, essentially, right? She talks about how she would like read this thing, and then she learned how to do that, and that's how he ends up finding her and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay. So, basically, he grows up and figures out that, he sees this picture from this photographer. He goes to ask the photographer where she got the picture, and she says something along the lines of, like, I was paid a lot of money to not talk about that.
Yeah.
Which first of all, it's really I gotta say that it's dumb how that plays out, because he shows up there and he's like, do you know this picture and do you have a copy of it? Like, if you're not supposed to talk about it right then and there, you would be like, no, I don't remember. But she's like, oh yeah, I think I got a copy, and she pulls it out, and then she tells him,
I know.
no, I can't talk about this. And it's like, well, if you really cared about that, then you shouldn't have freaking told him that you had a copy of it. And then after that, she's like, yeah, I can't talk about it. And then it's like the most awkward dialogue ever, where she's like, I like you.
Let's fuck.
No, she leaves the room and then comes back just like buck naked.
Yeah,
it's like so weird. It's so strange, man.
Yeah, but she says, I like you. She literally says that. Like, why?
I don't
why
know.
do you like him?
It's like,
what do you like about him? You don't even know him.
She's probably horny at the time. She's probably like one of those girls that likes to bang, and he's like,
then they didn't even bang.
No, they totally
She's
didn't.
Just like, I like you. I'm going to tell you where it is. Meet me here.
You know what else?
It made no sense.
You know what else is really interesting about that scene when he goes to the photographer's house? You guys notice the girl that she's shooting has
fingering herself?
Well, yeah, I mean, but
she doesn't have any hair, really.
She shaved her. She had a bald pussy,
which is incredibly crazy for 1975.
And man, that's like so fucking unheard of.
I did notice that. That's why I was like, wait a fucking minute.
I noticed that too, actually. Like, oh shit!
I know, it's so fucking weird.
No muff.
Yeah, very, 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 very strange. Yeah, this movie has some really.
She was ahead of her time.
She was. This movie has some really weird elements to it that I've always kind of questioned myself. Like, I mean, I get it. Kind of, but they don't really fully explain, who had actually paid her. I mean, I guess we have to assume it was probably the person that we're thinking of. I don't want to really go into
but it also doesn't make sense that she would, like, if you would go take a picture of this place, like, how would anybody know to pay you off to not?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't they just pay you for the picture so you didn't publish it? Like, why would they let you have the picture and then pay you and say, like, hey, don't ever talk about this? Like, that whole thing didn't make any sense.
No, there's a little bit of script issues with that, and there's actually a very odd scene, kind of playing off that part right there too, where he's on the train and then this dude, like, that kind of looks like Tom Savini when he first gets onto the train. It's so funny.
Yeah, he looks like French Tom Savini.
He does. He looks like French Tom Savini. But anyways, then the guy like pulls out a gun on him, and then he fucking beats him up and shit. I'm just like, what the fuck? Why?
Dive.
Yeah, because once you find out who's behind keeping him from it, it doesn't make sense that they would pull a gun on him.
I know, because what was the actual intention there? Were they trying to kill him?
That's really the only reason I'd see you pull a gun on somebody.
But that completely does not make sense, because what we later find out in the film is that was never that was not what was intended, I guess. But why would they even have that part in the movie? It makes little to no sense.
I don't know, but there's some weird scene where he's actually shooting the bullets and stuff, and I don't think he's aiming right, because the first one was he could actually aim, you know what I mean? But then before, like, all the supernatural shit started happening with the water and the lights and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he was actually trying to aim for him. I think he was just trying to scare him off and lead him to, like, where he ends up going into, like, a mental institution after that. So you know what I mean?
That scene feels random as well. That mental institution scene.
Yeah, it does.
Like, what's up with the vampires? Like, how did they get a job there?
Yeah, exactly right.
They're like, yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, this movie is like such an oddball kind of vampire film. It's definitely not your typical vampire film at all.
The way I would describe this is like a mixture of giallo with vampirism.
In a sense, a little bit, right? Yeah, because it's totally a mystery. He's trying to figure out exactly, or he's trying to basically get his memory back,
You know what else is weird about this movie? Like, it literally starts frame 1. Like, there's no like title scroll or anything like that. It's just like frame 1. Like, there's people like moving coffins, and you're like, what?
Man. Yeah, but I mean, it still is a very intriguing film, man. I love the locations that Jean Rollin filmed in this, man. It's actually like an old castle from like the 1600s and stuff that they filmed in, and they actually did like some non-legal shooting. I guess they kind of like tricked some dude and shit, and they got some more shots like later on in some nights and shit like that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Love the setting of that castle, and even like the bars when the kid first comes up to it. Like, I love all that stuff. So like, I think that, and it's really in all 3 of these films, and I'm sure other parts in his filmography. But I think that the settings to these movies are really the standout aspect of the films. Like, they have this just beautiful architecture, these like ruins and just like villages and stuff that just looks so nice and foreign. You know what I mean? It's just it's cool to look at. And this film, like, I didn't really 100% grasp like what was going on with like, okay, like the one girl like projects herself so that he can see her. And it's like, there's this weird, like, this is shit that bugs me in movies. But so like, the girl is leading him to those vampires, the coffins, the other ones, and where the cross is like in the rock formation, and he knocks it over and stuff. But so he starts following her. She stops, looks back at him, and then she starts moving again, and he just stands there and waits for her to disappear. And then I'm like, isn't the whole point of you following her to like, aren't you like curious of what's going on? Like, why did you wait for her to disappear then follow her again? It made no sense.
Like,
she looks
certain
back
aspects of that is like,
it's like.
I totally 100% get where you're coming from with that too. It totally doesn't make sense. I don't know.
I think his hair was in the way. You know what I mean? Like his giant flopping glowing hair. He had like a little flock of seagulls shit going on with that thing.
Yeah, a little bit, man. One scene I actually really enjoy in this film is when he's actually at the cinema, and he's like he's watching that film, and all of a sudden she just appears like underneath it. I love that scene, man. The way it looks, it's so weirdly and oddly executed, but it totally works on some weird level. I don't know. It's so strange. I guess it's because the screen is really small and she's able to like walk underneath it. I don't know what it is about that scene, but I
actually really enjoy that scene too. And it's weird about that scene too is he's actually watching the nude vampire.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's watching a Jean Rollin film inside of a Jean Rollin film.
God,
if I was a filmmaker, I'd put all my films on the screen. Wow.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Well, actually, I was reading like the IMDb trivia. He actually based the character of Frederick off of kind of like the way that's what it said in the trivia section of the IMDb of this film.
Huh. Interesting.
This movie has like such a weird ending too. Like,
I like it though.
there's a shot of like this coffin, and it's funny because like I could tell that like how he shot it, he probably wanted it to like not keep floating towards those things and bumping into them. But it's like they probably didn't have time or like the money to keep
you only have one shot at that, right? Like, so whatever happens, you got to film it. We have to use the footage.
I assume in his head he wanted it to like drift out to sea and be this beautiful thing, but just knocking against these fucking posts, and it's like right? Half sunk and stuff, and you're just like, independent filmmaking, low budget filmmaking.
I just thought it was impressive that they actually got that fucking box to float.
I know it was kind of sinking most of the time,
but it was still,
it was still floating. Yeah.
Especially well, the ending, yeah.
And like I'm like, oh, that lid would totally have fallen off.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're just grooving with the motion,
70s filmmakers, especially like from France and like Italy and stuff like that, they love to show like voluptuous like naked women like in like sheer nightgowns and stuff.
But that that's the eroticism of vampire eroticism in itself, right?
Yeah.
Vampirism is all about eroticism, and to showcase. I mean, this movie has when you really kind of break it down, it has a shitload of nudity in it. Like, there's a lot of tits and muff in this film. It's ridiculous, but
there's even a little penis.
Yeah, even a little penis. Yeah, there is a little penis in this one too. But yeah, no, he definitely does a good job. Yeah. He definitely does a good job. It's kind of interesting because, like, when you look at the Blu-ray cover of this film, it's got the twins on the cover, and they're really not in the film a whole lot, right? I mean, they probably only have a couple minutes of screen time throughout the whole film, and you know, and it's funny too. Like, they don't have any dialogue, but they're like the worst actors in the world.
Was it just me, or is like something out of continuity, like with the other vampires, like not the main one? Like, in my head, for some reason, like I think they like kill them, but then they show them again, or like vice versa, something like that. Does that happen, or is that just me? Like,
No, they do show them again after they do what they do with them, but they're not alive.
They're
okay.
So I get where I know what you're saying though.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, they're just not alive. So
okay.
But yeah, another thing that you notice in pretty much all of Jean Rollin films, no matter what, there's always going to be a scene where someone looks at the fucking camera. It happens in this film, and like I think it actually happens a couple different times, but I don't know what it is about the twins in this film, but like when they go to show their fangs, they're really like working on showing the fangs, and it just comes off as being a little bit cheesy at times. Like they're over smiling, and they're really trying to get those fangs out, and they're like, you know,
it's that iconic scene that's on the back of the Blu-ray cover. Like,
it doesn't seem natural. I think that's what I'm getting at. It doesn't seem like it's just a natural smile. Like it's almost like the prosthetics that are in their mouth is like hurting them or something, and they're just like, okay, I got to get this out there. I'm gonna smile like this.
Cut.
It's just a force, man. It's just a force-fed scene, you know. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, this film right here, man, again, not a lot of dialogue in the film, surprisingly enough, considering it's like a mystery. You know, he's like trying to unravel this mystery, and there's not really a whole lot of dialogue, but it's fucking beautiful, man. I think one of my favorite scenes, again, going back to the opening, I guess, flashback scene of him as a child when he first comes into contact with the vampire. That scene is so fucking beautifully lit. I love that blue hue to it. Oh, it's just fucking phenomenal, man. The Blu-ray just looks so good with it. Oh, it's totally awesome shit, man. I love that scene, man. It's so great. But
that
again,
girl's just beautiful. Annie Bell.
Yeah, she's got the boy head.
Yeah, I kind of like it though on her.
For some reason, I didn't notice that she had that haircut at the beginning of the film.
I kind of like it with her though, because
really,
just the
for some reason, because like when she shows back up later, I was like, "Who's this?" But like, I eventually figured it out.
Yeah,
I don't know why I didn't notice that. But
that is weird. That is weird. But yeah, you know, like not. You know, for a movie called Lips of Blood, I mean, it's not overly violent or anything. That's one thing about Jean Rollin films is like he's not that filmmaker that like, you know, just, you know, showcases, you know, random violence and puts shit in his films for shock value and stuff. You know, I like that about his films. It always seems to kind of stick out to me. I mean, some people might be looking for a little bit more of that, but you're not really going to get that with his films. And that's what I like about him. That's what I like about him. You know, he's not trying to do something that the film doesn't need to have in it, you know. So I think it works. He's a very elegant director. You know, this one right here, it just has so much anticipation. I don't know, when I watched this movie, when I was rewatching this movie again today, it's one of those films where I almost feel antsy while I'm watching it for some reason. It's something to do with like the very ominous pacing to it, and it's just the way it kind of cuts around and stuff. It's like there's so much anticipation, which is a good thing. You know, I'm like anticipating something else, and you know, I don't know how to say, but you know what I'm saying though. It just kind of has that feel to it. It's very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
So, anything else? Lips of Blood, Derek.
I'll go first. Yeah, Lips of Blood, like we said in the review, this one's very like clanky with like its story aspects, or like certain aspects of its story. Kind of feels like a mystery / giallo mixed with like a vampire movie in a sense, where this guy is going through this mystery of trying to figure out his past, and they throw vampires in it. And some of the aspects of it's kind of clanky, but I kind of do like the story for what it is. Like, I like the character of Frederick. He's kind of funny. I like the aspect of him, like that whole scene where he meets the photographer. I actually laugh at that scene because it's so odd and out there. But,
dude, is this the fact that she walks away, doesn't say anything, and then she comes back buck naked?
Oh, she does. She does say something. She's like, "I gotta go change." I'll be right
does
back.
she say that?
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
But I like the whole scenes where the flashbacks with him as a child, and I actually like the Jennifer, who's the mysterious girl from his past, played by Annie Bell, who's in I think she was in a Manuel film. I was reading that.
Probably, yeah.
Probably with that body. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the aspects of that. Like some of the vampire stuff is they kind of like the mob in this movie because she's controlling them pretty much. So it's weird in that aspect.
Yeah, I know.
But it's they act like the Luca Brazzis of this lead vampire. So it's like they're just doing her bidding, and they don't have really much dialogue. But I really like the setting of the castle, and I like the looks of the vampires on different aspects of the castle with the scrolls and the nudity and the wind blowing. Just very atmospheric stuff with that stuff. So I do enjoy Lips of Blood. What it is, it does have a few problems with it, but I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed this film too, but yeah, it does have its little quirkiness within the script. There's definitely some things where you kind of laugh and go, that doesn't make fucking sense. But it's almost forgivable, man. I mean, the story in itself is pretty basic. I mean, but you still kind of shake your head. I mean, the fucking the European Tom Savini.
Yeah, that guy's great.
Shit, man, that still makes me laugh, man. But I really like this film. I like the elegance of it. I like how Jean Rollin took. He always had a different approach with vampire films. He wasn't trying to make those, those very standardized vampire films. He made these things almost like over erotic, but without being
sleazy.
Without being sleazy, in a sense, yeah, it was very elegant in how he portrayed the characters and stuff, and I love that about it, man. I think it's fucking fantastic filmmaking.
It wasn't like Jess Franco just trying to have his wife.
It was just straight up sleaze, man. I mean, for fuck's, his wife, she was actually fucking in those films, dude. I mean, sleazier than that, but his approach to filmmaking is beautiful. He's definitely got an eye for locations, and I mean, the castle in this so awesome. Everything about it. I love the beach, man. The ending still makes me kind of laugh. I'm glad that JP brought up the coffin crashing on those little pillar things. This shit is so fucking ridiculous.
I'm just picturing them inside, just holding it to make sure the fucking top isn't full.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm glad they didn't overdo it, with the flashback scenes. I mean, there's a fair amount of them in the film, but it didn't get repetitive to me. It didn't kind of downplay the story and stuff. I think even within the flashback scenes, it still moved the story forward. In some films they'll put those in there, and you're just like, fuck, okay, man, we get it. And I'm not a big fan of filmmaking like that a lot of the times, but in this sense, I actually do dig it. I'm also coming in a 7.5 out of 10 on this one. I enjoy Lips of Blood. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I really like the setting, like I mentioned, and I really like the just aesthetic of the film. I actually was kind of interested to actually understand eventually what was going on, because it is kind of mysterious at first. It is a little clunky for sure, but I don't think that it's overly film breaking. So I'm coming in at a 7 out of 10 on this one as well.
Nice.
Good shit.
Yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised. I thought you might be coming a little bit lower on that one.
42 shots.
So moving along into the year 1978 with a film simply titled The Grapes of Death.
Or if we go by the French title, Le Raisin de Morte.
Raisins, yeah. Actually, we didn't even talk about that, actually, in Lips of Blood. The original title of that film was actually Jennifer. So,
really?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Which is kind of funny, because there was actually a film called, it was like a Carrie ripoff called Jennifer that came out, I guess, probably just after in America.
Yeah.
But yeah, synopsis: a young woman discovers that the pesticide being sprayed on vineyards is turning people into killer zombies. They're not fucking zombies. They're not fucking zombies.
They're infected.
So
that's bullshit. They're just infected.
This one was kind of interesting. Like I was like, I honestly, okay, so I didn't know anything about this one. It's funny that it's called The Grapes of Death because about I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes into the movie, they mentioned like vineyards or something. And I was like, could it? No, it couldn't be. Is it really the grapes that's causing this? I was like, that's, and then when you find out it is, it's like, holy shit, you know, it's from everybody drinking the pesticide wine. But yeah, I totally did not expect a infected film from this dude or a zombie film at all. Like I was super surprised when it turned like it's almost like a post-apocalyptic film in a way. Like it starts out with this girl riding this train and all of a sudden there's this like infected dude on it and then like she like escapes it and then it's just like her traveling through like, you know, desolate like ravaged towns and shit. And I was like, holy shit, like this is kind of ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very simple setup, man. It's just about this character who's trying to she's going to meet her fiance in one of these like, I guess, little minor town. Like, I mean, the town that they end up in is literally just a vineyard. Like, that's all they do there is they just produce wine. Like, those things actually exist. That's so crazy. You know, just to have that as your whole industry kind of thing. But yeah, no, so she's trying to escape these infected people. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole film. Is her trying to survive, you know? So...
Yeah, I really like the main character, Marie Georges Pascal, who plays Elizabeth. Very sad that her life was very short, actually. She actually committed suicide in 1985.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, I think that, honestly, you know what's funny is, I actually kind of like the way the infected are done in this one. Like, they're kind of... It's not 100% like explained like I don't know. It's like they're kind of rage like, but they still can talk and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I like the transformations of their skin. It kind of feels like they're becoming like a rotted grape, pun intended.
Yeah. Well, it actually looks better than what is that film, Nightmare City?
It actually looks like, because, you know, they're classified as infected people, but the wounds and like the transformation actually looks infected. Like it has that kind of yellow greenish tinge to it, and it actually portrays it quite well. It's fucking disgusting looking too.
Yeah, like when that father like pulls that dress off of his daughter or whatever, and that like pussy nasty shit below her boob.
I know.
I'm like,
she has such nice tits too, man. And you look at that and you're like, no. That's gross. That's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I again, you know, very typical Jean Rollin fashion, man. It's got great locations. Cinematography is fantastic in the film. Again, really, really quiet. You know, it's a theme with Rollin films, but it has this weird soundtrack to it. I don't know why they chose this little. And what exactly are those sounds? Like, what
is that? A Peruvian flute?
I don't know what it is, dude, but it comes off as so weird.
I think he used like the same thing in like the Living Dead Girl.
Yeah, maybe, but
I like it a little more in that one because it's very based on that tone of that movie and played a little more serious in that one.
That one actually, it definitely fits that style of film a little more, because this one, like I said, it's so ominous. Like the film is so quiet and everything, and then it has this like, it's so just out of place. The music is so out of place in this film. It definitely did not need it. You know, it didn't have to be there. So, but,
I really like how she's, you know, traveling from place to place. One thing that I'll say that didn't make the most sense though, is we eventually find out that one girl is infected, but she doesn't show any signs of it. So the girl's running from the infected, and that girl like pulls her into a building to save her. But it makes no sense why she would do that.
No, it really doesn't.
Because then she just lets everybody know where she is anyway. Mm-hmm. She's over here, you know? So it's like, it like really doesn't make any sense. But whatever. It's a little kind of inconsistency there.
Yeah, the blonde chick, that's actually Bridget Leahy. She was a fucking porn star in France at the time.
Yeah, she's in she's actually in a bunch of Rollin films.
Yeah, she's in quite a few of them.
And she's also in Calvary.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, for that time period, because I know Cronenberg, he had Marilyn Chambers in his film too. It must have been something to do in the 70s. Maybe it was a little more acceptable to like have a fucking porn star in your film. I don't know. It just seems it's odd. Yeah, because she's actually not even she's actually a pretty decent actress too.
Well, actually, in general, porn had good acting in the 70s.
Well, that's you know
what I mean.
Well, because they actually made porn movies. They made porn movies, right? They had storylines and stuff.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it actually made sense. Yeah,
they actually you actually had to have a little bit of acting chops in the 70s to be a porn star. Now it's just like, do you got big fake tits? Do you got blonde hair? Do you do anal?
Yeah, you do deep throat.
DVDA, double anal, double ass. Double vag, double anal, good. Double ass.
You know how to tickle balls.
I much more appreciate 70s porn making than I do current porn trends.
The actual movies.
I will say some acting is coming back, though, a little bit. There's a lot more storylines in porn than 5 years ago. Not that I watch that much porn. But yeah, this I like I really like this movie. Like it was a cool ride, I don't think that I love the ending though. I'll say that I wasn't really a fan of how the film ended. What about you guys?
Well, there was one scene where she was taking a little sip of wine.
I know.
There was. I did catch that. Catch that.
So I was trying to figure out how to explain this because I knew that was going to get brought up. And they did say in the film that the people that were infected was from that batch of wine. Now, we all know that wine is generally aged, right? So we don't know for a fact that the wine that she was drinking was from that batch. Right.
That's true.
It could have been from an older bottle because, let's face it. I have bottles of wine that have been sitting in there for fucking years too. Right.
Are you talking about when she's with the porn star?
Yeah. Well, she actually takes a sip of the wine.
No,
she spits it out too, though, doesn't she?
I think there's actually two scenes.
When she's with the father and the daughter.
Oh, I didn't know she drank. See, because you don't know it. You don't know way back then about the wine.
Yeah.
So
there's two different
you'd have to
scenes.
catch that on the second watch. Okay, I guess that makes a little bit more sense then if we assume that she's, spoiler alert, also infected. But I don't know, I just found it kind of played out a little weird for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe on rewatch it will pick up a little more. I noticed it a few times rewatching this one. This is probably my second favorite Jean Rollin film, spoiler alert, but it's very interesting, like the aspect of like the landscapes that they uses in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, great, like I don't know where they shot this, but it's like great countryside throughout this film.
Man, like how in the fuck do you even build places on the side of mountains like that? There's that one overhead shot where it kind of showcases the one side of the mountain there, and there's all those places built. Like, why would you just build a house right there?
I know, right?
Honestly, wouldn't it be really hard to even get to? It's like, I don't know. I always thought that was so intriguing. But yeah, man, the setting of this film is just fantastic. Those little small kind of like stone cities, towns, like everything is just stone. I love that, man. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah. And then like all the characters that she meets a lot, like the Lucy characters, like this is before the Beyond. It's like fucking
the blind chick.
Yeah.
He's got blind. But two of these three films have blind. I think. Well, maybe all three of them do. I don't know. Is there a blind person in the Iron Rose too?
No, I don't think so.
No, there's only like 4 people in that movie.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe one of the ladies that was walking through was blind, but no, she wasn't. But yeah, Lips of Blood. There's blind. Maybe it's like a European thing. I don't know. It's like to showcase blind people in their films, but
yeah, it's pretty big,
but very reminiscent of the Beyond, though, right?
Yeah, with the eyes.
Because Argento does that shit too with the blind people.
Yeah.
This one gets fucked up though.
Oh, brutalized, man. Like, that decapitation scene, it's, like, ridiculous, man.
This movie's actually, sorry to cut you off, but this movie's actually a little bit more scary than the other two, too. Like, when she rolls up to that dude's house and his hand's infected, and he, like, covers it up, and I'm like, oh, shit. It's kind of creepy. And that kill, actually, is probably the best out of the three movies with the pitchfork.
Yeah, actually, the effect on that's pretty good. It's actually not too bad. But I like that scene, though, too, when she rolls up and he covers his hand up, because he's staring for, like, a while, right? He's kind of got this look on his face, and he just calmly places his hand over his infected area, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Awesome. I like the guys, like, we don't have a phone. It doesn't work. We don't have a car. The one doesn't work.
Doesn't work. It hasn't worked in a long time.
Yeah. And that's the whole scene in the train's fucking terrifying, too. Like, this random fucking dude, and this is the whole thing with the fucking, when his face starts fucking doing what it's doing, and he's fucking just being chased through a train, you know? It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. I'm a really big fan of anything set on trains. I love train settings, man. Yeah. We should actually do, like, a train show one time. That could be the theme, man. Films on trains, man. Yeah.
Films on trains.
Lucas. That fucking part, man.
Lucy.
It fucking makes me laugh every time I watch this movie.
I love the scene where he just kisses the thing before he dies.
Dude, like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
That shit's out of control, man. Jesus Christ. Getting into some, like, almost like necrophilia territory there.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of fucking nasty. I mean, you gotta admit, though, like, the head doesn't really look that great.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, too, when he's, like, just laying on top of him and it's just slowly, like, dang.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. I love it.
Yeah, man. But, yeah, no, this has always been one of my favorite films, too, man, by Rollin, Grapes of Death. I just love the setup, man. It's just, like, it's such an oddball setup, like, you know, she's on this train and all of a sudden she's, like, forced off it from this infected dude and it just kind of spirals out of control. I love that, man.
She's just journeying to the town and she's just meeting all these crazy characters.
Yeah, man, she was already going there. But, you know, one thing I love about this film, though, is how they figure out what infected the people. When she comes across those the two male characters in this film.
Yeah, the two.
Yeah,
and they actually go as far.
Dumb, honestly, though.
Not really. I mean, not really.
Like, who would come to that conclusion? Well, we both drank beer last week.
Well, I think it was because they were figuring out the time frame. Like, okay, all these people got infected around the time they had this wine festival. We didn't drink anything.
I guess, but it's just a little weird.
I think it's kind of cool though that they actually go as far to, like, explain it too. Like, oh, no,
I'm glad
we're totally beer drinkers, you know, and we didn't touch the wine, so I think that's what it is. It's the wine that fucked up everybody. You know, it's like I like it, man.
I like that they explained it. I'm just not 100% sure that I like that how they.
It's kind of humorous. It's kind of like a humorous, like, downbeat scene too, like the way they're explaining it too. Like, yeah, we drank beer that day, you know.
Well, it's super relatable for myself too, right? Because I'm a huge beer drinker, and, you know, I mean, that would be me. That would be me holding the gun, going, "Yeah, man, you know, I drank Shock Top last Sunday. Yeah, you know, I didn't touch the wine."
But it's kind of cool too, because it does seem like these two guys do know each other. So it's like, because they do talk about, yeah, you know, we drank beer that day. You know, it's like two buddies talking to each other, goofing on the situation too, trying to keep each other calm.
Exactly. Good shit. Well,
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot. Yeah, Grapes of Death, man, another beautiful effort by Jean Rollin. You know, you understand now why you picked these films, right, JP? Because, like, being so different and stuff. Like you said, you weren't even expecting this to be like this. Kind of makes sense, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, this one really sticks out in Jean Rollin's filmography because it is so different than the rest of his films. But I think he did a really good job with this one. I mean, it's a little bit clunky at times in the film. I mean, some of the effects aren't the greatest with the decapitation. I mean, that scene for as brutal as it is, I can watch it over and over again. It's like a rewindable scene to me, man. It's like the way he just fucking chopping her head is like so fucking vicious, man. I absolutely love that scene. It's just brutal.
He's like crying while he's doing it because he doesn't want to do it either. I know, Lucy, I love you.
This is so brutal. Like, oh my god, like that butcher knife. This is fucking ridiculous, man. But I always have a blast with this film, man. I've said so many times, this is it's right up there with my favorite Jean Rollin film. Again, man, landscape, just it's so fucking awesome. I'm just a really big fan of Jean Rollin's filmmaking. I love how it's so quiet, and it coming from somebody that is a really big music person, and I always talk about scores and films and stuff, but even the lack of music and things like that sometimes is effective also, and I think Jean Rollin does it pretty well, with the exception of having that minor score in here that doesn't really fit, but the rest of the film is pretty quiet. I love it, man. Really, really fun film. I'm also coming in at a 9 out of 10 on this one.
All right, I really like this film too. I thought it was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting an infected film, so that was a nice surprise. I never heard anybody really talk about this when they talk about infected films. Like, I can honestly say I've never heard anybody mention this film. I mean, I'm sure you have, Moods, at some point or another, but I can't remember anybody else mentioning it. I pretty much like all these movies about the same, so I'm coming in at a 7 out of 10 on this one as well.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, this is probably my second favorite Jean Rollin film too. It's a little clunky in some aspects, but it's enough to keep me enjoying level great. And there's some great landscape shots. He does shoot some great scenery for like this film, and it shows you the wide range of what's going on with the infection. And I like the aspect of like the fucking, like Mood said, the fucking decapitation scene makes me fucking laugh too every time. It's fucking great shit. But fucking, yeah, I love this. I love like the character Elizabeth. I love following her journey. I could see like if she questioned the ending, but after a few watches, like I kind of figured it out for myself. And it's like when you have to, like you interpret it for yourself. That it's that type of ending for me. Kind of like, is she or is she not or whatever? Because we already spoiled it. But for the aspect of that, it's an enjoyable film. I give it a 9 out of 10 too. Great cinematography, and some of the music's a little goofy. I like the ominous theme at the very end of the film. That I actually kind of like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I like that, like the ominous theme at the end.
I forgot to bring up this one part, man. When Bridget Leahy's character, she's wearing this white gown. Anyway, she ends up changing into like a red shirt and pants or whatever. And for whatever reasons, man, there's like a total continuity issue where there's like she goes outside and she's wearing like a different white gown now. And I'm like, where in the fuck did she change, man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love when she's like taking her dress off to the two guys. She's like, that's totally unnecessary.
I know, but you got to get her naked in there somehow, right? Fuck, yeah. Nice fucking body too, right? And you can tell, man, she'd groomed her muff too. Like that shit was,
she put it in like a little mohawk there.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So,
yeah,
but
so your rating is
9 out of 10.
All right. Yeah, man, I was a little surprised on these ones. I didn't know what to think. Dude, I would have been curious.
For like fucking months, you were just like, I don't want to fucking do the Jean Rollin show. Man, we got into a huge fight one time.
Yeah, but that was a joke more so. When you suggested it, I thought you were talking about Jess Franco, which I know he makes a lot of bad movies. Mm-hmm. And
later day Jess Franco, yes.
Well, the thing we could do a good Jess Franco show. Like, I mean, he's done some, well above movies. Average film. Yeah, some really good films actually, to be honest. And actually, one that he did actually stars Bridget Leahy, Faceless.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was, I don't know. I was hating a little bit, but as always, I'll still give any movie a fair shot. And I ended up really liking these three. And honestly, I will probably own them at one point, as long as they don't go out of print before I'm not poor again, because I like them. Like, I think that they're pretty cool movies, and honestly wouldn't mind showing people some of them sometimes, if an opportunity arose. Nice little, like, almost art housey, Like, I think they're pretty fun. Pretty good atmosphere.
I'm glad you dug them, JP.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy that you enjoyed them too. It's too bad that Jeremy wasn't on the show. I would have liked to have heard, because he was really hating on this shit, man. Mm-hmm. So I would have been curious to see what his thoughts would have been on these ones, because I know he didn't really care for the demoniacs. I mean, that one's not even in my top 5 Rollin films.
Yeah, it's a mixed crowd, that one.
Yeah, I mean, I still like that film. Jeremy was kind of harping on it a little bit, but
it was his first Rollin film, and well, at least he didn't watch Zombie Lake as his first one.
That's like the worst first one to watch ever. I think he hates that film himself.
Well, it was originally supposed to be directed by Franco, who actually wrote the screenplay.
Yeah. Well, he left the production of that?
Yeah, he did, and then because it was the same producer as like a lot of Jean Rollin films, so as a favor for the producer, Rollin took on for Franco.
I think it's funny. I think I read somewhere that Jess Franco left the production of that because he didn't have any money. And I was like, man, all of his films are like no budget films. What the fuck was so different about this one? It's so funny. Whatever. But yeah, man, that is going to conclude episode 125. Derek, thank you for coming back onto the show.
Anytime, man. This is, like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't become a podcaster in the first place. So I love you guys. So whenever you guys need a home or like another hand to help out, I'm here for you guys.
Yeah, man.
Any of us. Cinema Attack for Life and 22 Shots.
Baby. Yeah. All right, well.
This is our 13th or 14th show in a row.
It's actually my 14th show on, too. Ironically.
Yeah. So we have one more show, and then we take our hiatus. So that will be the Christmas listener's choice next week,
which is going to be Better Watch Out. I already forgot the films.
Blood Beat,
Rare Exports, and Blood Beat.
Oh yeah, Blood Beat. I can't wait to fucking review that one. Oh, it's gonna be
I can't wait to hear Jeremy fucking talking about that.
Oh my god, like I was having a hard time containing myself when I was making my video for that. Like like you're fucking you have to see this shit to believe it, man. Like the flicking bean of her bean. Oh my god. The master.
I can't wait to watch this. I own the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray.
So you are honestly, you're gonna fucking die laughing, man. Some of the shit that happens in this film, it's ridiculous. But I've never seen anything like that before. I can't wait to talk about it. But yeah, man, that is it. JP, you gonna take us out of here or just?
Oh shit, yeah. Thank you guys for listening to episode 125 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. If you guys want to check us out, please do so in all of our links. Twitter, that's me. Twitter, 22 Shots Podcast, Gmail, 22 Shots of Moods and Horror at gmail.com. You guys can send in your top 10 list for the end of the year show, which will take place at the beginning of the year. Also, you guys please do Horrorphilia a favor and check out the show on Horrorphilia. Do us a favor by downloading the show via iTunes and also clicking a little play on YouTube. Maybe listen to half the show via download and the other half via YouTube. There you go. We know it's long enough to do that, but yeah, man, definitely support the patreon.com/22 shots podcast. We got a couple of new Patreon people supporting over the past week. Thank you guys very much. It's amazing what you guys are doing. Eventually we're gonna pull some of the money and we're gonna make some shirts or something cool like that, so that'll be what we do next. Just to clear this up, we personally have not used any of the money period on anything personal, so just so you guys know, we had some people, I think Zach was hating a little bit, but yeah, and we actually do all our reviews too, so for the most part I think we did them all except for Exploding Heads. But yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you guys in episode 126. Peace. All right, that's a wrap. It's about 4 hours ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was a pretty good show.
It was
4 hours. I'm surprised too, man, because actually, what we watched was almost like an hour 15.
Yeah, I think it went a little long when we started getting into King Kong and Godzilla, and I think there's another thing we stopped and talked about too. Can't remember.
Sure.
We kind of got into Super Dark Times a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. It's 127. Yeah, oh shit. Yeah, it's pretty normal. Pretty normal. So
yeah. All
right.
So 1 more week, dude, and then we're off for a little while. This is an incredible streak. 15 shows in 15 weeks.
I know.
And these are not baby shows either. These motherfuckers are gigantic.
Yeah, we haven't had any of them. Fucking franchise shows, trilogy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been all except for the Skin Deep one. I think that was the only one that was like a small show.
Yep. That's the only one.
Thank
all right,
you
I'll
guys
see you guys next time. Thanks for coming on, Derek.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Peace, guys.
Later. Steelers about to lose. I'm gonna cry.
Oh,
I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette before
I'm having
record.
the fucking worst week for Pick'em, man. Just horrible.
I've been out of it since I missed that week. Le'Veon scores touchdown. All right, this is gonna be intense. We're gonna be down by 3 points. With like 3.5 minutes left to go with all 3 timeouts. So if we stop Baltimore, we can maybe do it.
Crazy.
Nice. Well, I gotta record in an hour again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You guys record late, huh?
Well, it's only today because, the fucking Matt doesn't get out of work at 12:30.
W works night shifts, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he works. He's off Sundays, though.
But he works. Oh, okay. So yeah, he's good then. All right.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you guys.
See ya.
Peace.